On today's episode, we invite Mo and Max from Buzzn the Tower to put Rocky IV to the ultimate test. Drago! Welcome to the Nostalgia Test Podcast, the show where two longtime friends put their mainstream pop culture past to the ultimate test, the Nostalgia Test. All right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Nostalgia Test Podcast. I'm Dan Dissinger here in LA, and I'm here with my longtime friend and co-host, Manny Coelho. They're in New York. Manny, how are you doing tonight?
Oh my God, stop it. We are finally here. I think this is the reason why this podcast started was because of this episode that's about to happen. I got my game shirt on. Ha! Nobody saw that, but I'm wearing the Rocky shirt because we are doing Rocky IV, ladies and gentlemen. Rocky IV we're putting to the test.
Holy nostalgia.
Everybody probably knows what we're going to come out with at the end of this test, but we had to do it because, I mean, this was everything. This is everything. And today we got the ultimate 80s podcast.
Yes. Mo and Max from Buzzn the Tower here today to help us put Rocky IV to the ultimate test. Guys, thank you so much for being here. My God, we're super excited for this.
If he dies, he dies.
Who's ready for this?
I mean, that's one of 11 lines, I think, hopefully. I tried to count all the lines that Dolph Lundgren had, and that might be...
Mo, he's got six. Six in
plus
six
Russian?
in English, 2 in Russian.
Oh, my God.
I did think, Mo, you were going to come out with Happy Birthday, Polly.
Wow.
Because
listen, Max,
that is your favorite.
I'm contractually obligated not to say it in front of Max or he'll slap me across the face.
Well, you've breached that contract multiple times.
We have 26 episodes, and Happy Birthday, Polly has been said on at least 10 episodes.
Yeah, the sicko robot.
Oh, man. Guys, thank you so much for being here. But yeah, why don't you let our audience know a little bit about who you guys are and your podcast, and then we are going to just dive right into this. Unbelievable.
Absolutely. Film. Well, thank you guys. We appreciate the invite. We're fans of your show, and quite frankly,
this is the holy grail of topics.
You had us at Rocky IV. So
Mo almost fell over his chair.
This is a good one. So Buzzn the Tower. I'm Mo Shapiro, my co-host and friend and partner in crime, Max Sanders.
Heyo.
We talk exclusively about movies from the 80s, and our primary focus, to be honest with you, with everything that's going on in the world, it being on fire, we just try to bring a little bit of levity and laughter and joy. And there's no better way to do that than to talk about the best decade of film ever.
And also, this movie stopped the Cold War. So talk about feel good.
Yeah. So Max literally is incapable even talking about Buzzn the Tower. He's already trying to pull back into Rocky IV. So I'll quickly throw this in there so he doesn't slap me.
We're part of our podcast.
You're doing good. You're doing good, Max. At Buzzn the Tower on social media, and please check out our podcast. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, all those fun things. And I really want to get these plugs out of the way first because I want, and Max wants, and you guys want to do nothing but Rocky IV for the next, what do we have, 6.5 hours?
7.5 hours, you know.
For a 91-minute movie.
With the time zone, with the change for me in LA, I have another 3 for an after show after that to just kind of keep going. So
some Q&A, we could also just box if you guys want to.
We should have called Guinness, see if we could have done the longest Rocky IV podcast in human history.
Yeah, we should just also then start to watch it and just comment.
Live stream. Well, none of us will be talking. We'd just be making grunting noises like Drago on a treadmill.
I'd be weeping. I weep a lot.
You cry during the
movie? Every 5 or 6 minutes.
You serious?
No, not at all. No.
You know, Dolph Lundgren only cries when he thinks about being lifted into the boxing ring in the initial part.
Max is the sicko robot version of podcasters. Like, if given the opportunity,
I'm dating an old Polly.
He's like, he basically is like, let me give you facts.
She's naggy though. I'm not naggy. I mean, I'm supporting.
Oh my God, that's so funny. But yeah, because the first thing I was thinking, I was like, Rocky IV. It's the Rocky that I've probably seen the most times. It's ingrained in my DNA. It is a part of me. I mean, my uncle on my mom's side, huge Stallone fan. He showed me all the Stallone that I knew at that age. But Rocky IV was a movie, and also a movie that Manny hates that I keep bringing up over the top. Being a movie
we're divided on this. House divided.
Manny,
over
is not good.
Stop with
Evil
that.
Robert Loggia. Let's go.
I mean, those two
Loggia.
movies, Rocky 4 and Over the Top, are two of the Stallone movies that I've probably seen the most.
Over the Top is probably mentioned in pretty much like so far 50% of our episodes.
What?
Well, you know it's a good podcast then. There you
Dude,
go.
I hate that.
I'm so
movie.
proud.
It's such a. I'm like, why even? I mean, we're gonna put it to the test at
We'll
some
have
point.
to.
But like, so just to mention, guys, if you guys haven't checked out our episodes before, we're doing the Rocky marathon, and obviously, I've said this in every single one. Rocky 4, although it's not like a film, it is my favorite Rocky to watch.
It's not
like,
a film.
I think you guys have said this in your episode when you were doing I think it was your first episode when you guys did music, and you brought up how like that Rocky 4 is like McDonald's. It's just all about how delicious it is at the moment. It gives you all the best of all the Rockies all in one movie. Like,
So I'm gonna say something a little controversial. I think this movie has depth. I think it's shot insanely weird, but I think the whole thing about changing and who you are as a fighter, and if you can actually change your DNA, like Stallone has a lot of deficiencies, but one he doesn't have is he always wants his character to try to learn something during each one of his movies.
Yeah.
And in this movie, he goes from thinking that he can't change to he can change to everyone can change.
To everyone can change.
I cannot believe what I'm listening. What I'm listening to is a hot pile of garbage. Let me tell you something right now. I love you to death.
Yeah.
Let's not put lipstick on a pig. Here's the bottom line with Rocky 4. Rocky 4 is the best movie ever made. That's terrible. Like it's an indefensible film when you look at the structure of it. It's a music video.
Oh, yeah.
The whole movie's a music video. But here's the thing. I don't care. And I think you guys do a good job about this. You talk about this all the time too, and so do we. If you ask someone what their favorite food is,
Yeah.
you know, like someone's favorite food might be ice cream, but few people want to have ice cream for lunch, ice cream for dinner, ice cream for breakfast. So you have to ask more pointed questions. What's your favorite entree? What's your favorite breakfast? What's your favorite lunch? Rocky has a place when you say, what's your favorite 80s movie? What's your favorite sports movie? But if you're talking overall genre of film, it is not a great movie. But you put a gun to my head. This is what I'm taking on the island with me if I can only have 5 DVDs and a 5 DVD disc changer, and that's all I can watch the rest of my life. Rocky 4 is coming with
You're
me.
taking it?
Yeah,
definitely.
for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I would
Absolutely.
agree with that, definitely. And I'm gonna say, Max, there is some depth to this movie in the beginning. It tries to be like a normal Rocky movie. And then all of a sudden it just takes like it just goes somewhere else. But it like
From the car ride montage on, it's just like we're going somewhere else.
Like when Apollo's, I mean, we already jumped into all the different
Just do
things.
it.
I wanted to go.
I want to
Apollo
hear your
starts to
recap.
talk
I get
about-
goosebumps listening to this movie.
When Apollo starts to talk to him about like, you know, we're a fighter, that's what we do, and like,
Yeah.
and
that
I'm like,
part.
oh man, they're about to get deep.
Yeah.
Like this movie's gonna be 2 hours of this, right? And then all of a sudden we're like, wait, what happened? Like, no easy way out, and now we're in this movie, VH1. I mean, MTV. What happened here? And then if you find out more about it, it was supposed to be longer.
Yeah.
There
Like,
was
Two and a half hours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was supposed to go and talk to the commission about his belt and
Yeah.
go in to fight, and they were going to take his belt, and he was giving up. Like, we never found out, where did the belt go? Who did it get handed to? Like, all this stuff, and they said that would slow down the movie, so they cut it all out. So I think we got a lot of montage because of that. And apparently, we're supposed to be seeing a director's cut.
I mean,
So-
It was supposed to be last year.
I know.
Yeah.
but COVID, the thing
I can't
slowed
wait
it
the
all
hell-
down.
You think it'll ever come out? It will be one of those things where we don't get it.
No, maybe we should back up because I always say this to Max. For the 0.00001% of people who are listening to this podcast who have not lived life, smelled fresh air, had the sun hit their face, tell them what Rocky 4 is about. I just actually want to hear you do your synopsis so I can get goosebumps on my arm.
Oh.
Go ahead, Dan.
Rocky.
Really? I mean, I could tell you what I think it's about.
Why don't
Oh,
we
okay,
switch it
deeper
up,
meaning.
Manny?
Let's go. Yeah.
You tell us what Rocky 4
Well,
is
first
about.
of all, I'm
Modern
well, I'm not even gonna say
industrialization
it.
in third
if you
world
haven't seen-
countries.
If you haven't seen Rocky 4, Rocky 4 is about, to me, you know, a man who lets his friend die, and then he has to get revenge and not get paid for it. And then it's also a time travel movie.
Yes.
Because in the beginning,
Oh, yeah.
it's a time travel movie.
Yeah.
Because all right, we didn't even talk about it. Title card. First time the title card. There is no Rocky 4 coming across. No. It's just the gloves, right? The Russian glove explodes, so you know Russians are about to get beat in this movie, and you get the recap of last time on Rocky. They do a recap right in the beginning
Love it.
of what, just in case you didn't see the last 3 movies. Just watch Rocky 4. The beginning.
It's the best.
Yeah, I love
I love
That's
that.
the whole recap. You got Eye of the Tiger is back again because they're like, hey, it worked last time.
If it ain't broke,
let's do
fix
it again.
Yeah.
Right. Eye of the Tiger comes back, so you're like, oh yes, Eye of the Tiger. Whole recap comes through. All of a sudden, the kid is 3 and 4 in Rocky 3, and now he's 8 and 9.
He's got Benjamin Button disease. It's all right.
But the thing that happens in that recap, which is, and then they don't even just stop at the fight. Then Rocky 4 starts with another fight that we don't even get to see.
Oh
where
yeah,
the private fight between Apollo and Rocky, where
the favor.
yeah,
Because he's doing him a favor.
full on
Hey, let's
punching
do a
each other
favor.
in the face. Like we know that.
Apollo had to win, right? Apollo had to win for him to think that he could fight Drago. That's what the underlying message, right?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
Really?
Because look at it this way, right? I actually think that the fight, it's less valuable as who won and who lost, and it's more valuable for setting up Apollo's Achilles heel, which is like his inability to move on from being a winner. The fact that he still needs and feels the need to get into the ring because he can't let that 5 seconds go. And he even makes that comment later in the movie when Rock basically relents and says, fine, we'll do this. But once this is over, and he basically looks at him and says,
else.
they'll think of something else, right? I don't buy into Max's philosophy about this being like an in-depth, Oscar nominated film. I
didn't say that.
Well, you made my eyes water. You're talking so passionately about the story, but I don't buy into
because it works. That scene works when they're talking about life.
Oh.
The best part of it, at least from that perspective, the best part of it is you do see Adrian acts as the ultimate wet blanket for Rocky throughout all these movies. Like that's her role. It's awful. However, what you do see happen is this acceptance that you are who you are.
Yeah.
Rocky's a fighter. Apollo could never let it go. And you just have to kind of work through that, which I don't know if that's a great lesson or not. You'd like to think that there's room to grow as a human being. But you mentioned before, you said like halfway through this movie, it goes from trying to take itself serious to being absurd. The best writing in the movie is the conversation between Rocky and Apollo when he basically is like, are you sure this fight isn't with yourself? Like that's great stuff.
Yeah.
And
When
from
Rocky
that
said
point
that, I'm like,
forward,
He's a
yeah.
genius.
You're like, are you kidding?
Where's this coming from?
This is the punchy guy who bought a tiger or a tiger jacket. Or I mean, I don't know.
This is the guy that responded to like, oh, you should invest in condominiums. He's like, I don't wear them. Like,
Yeah.
Or he thought it was snails rather than nails. He's like, I feel like I could eat nails.
Name another movie that you've ever watched that takes brain damage on the spectrum that this does, from going from like severe to like well put together back to severe. Like he has this like sine graph of in Rocky 1 and 2 he can barely read. In Rocky 3 and 4 he's an entrepreneur, and then in Rocky 5 he's eating oatmeal out of his shoes. Like it's just unbelievable.
Well, Drago punched his lights out.
Those head hits when he not even like the face hits, it's the hits on the top of the head when like his whole
after
head
the
is
bell
shaking.
the after the bell hits. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my god.
But like
there's even
brutal.
a factor that he looked worse in Rocky 1 and 2. Like Rocky 2, you basically couldn't even see his face after getting beat up by a
Yeah,
ball.
he's just
But-
a
He
Italian
looked
sausage.
like the toxic. He looked like the Toxic Avenger.
Yeah.
He does.
But then Drago like beats him up and he's like, I can still do this speech.
he's got
I
like
can
a
do
black
this
eye.
speech.
That's it. He's like, oh, okay.
He suffered 15 concussions and then gave what would be considered like one of the greatest speeches the UN has ever heard to unite two countries.
If you can change and I can change, then we can change.
Oh God.
Brilliant.
But I'm going to speak to the depth that you were talking about, Max, and say that like
Let's do
I
it.
think that if Carl Weathers remained in the movie, that depth would have remained in the movie. He carried the emotional part of that film. Then when they lost him, when he dies, it's like, well, montage time, because who else is going to deliver these lines? We can't rely on any of the other characters to do what
Why
you
couldn't
just did.
Adrian do something?
Okay.
They
Yeah,
could-
it's like
come
mom
on,
and dad. It's like mom and dad left, and it's like now we can just eat ice cream. Adrian, by the way, in this movie, Adrian's not so bad. In this movie,
She is the least worst version of her worst self, but she's still bad.
Rocky goes to her. He doesn't tell her that he's going to fight on Christmas.
You know why?
In Russia
Would you like to tell me why he didn't tell her?
for no money.
No, Rocky 1, 2, and 3 is why he didn't tell her. Because every single time he tells her that he's going to fight, she's like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't think you should do that." You
Well,
know?
she has just grounds in this one.
She didn't have just grounds. She looked at her husband
For
and said,
no money.
She looked at her husband
Yeah.
and said, "You can't win.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose. Like that's not what
She was
wives
terrible.
do.
I was like,
Terrible.
you can't
So you
even
tell Trish
support him?
tomorrow that you need to firefight in Russia for 3 months. You might die because it's terrible fires and there's no money. What happens to the marriage?
If she acts like Adrian, the marriage is over.
I mean, she's allowed to act like Adrian. It's a terrible thing to do to your wife.
But like Stallone had no, I mean, in that scene, he's in like Rocky 1 shadows, like in the shadows from like Rocky 1 in his apartment, like literally standing on the staircase. They're doing like almost the same exact Mickey and like Rocky scene. But he delivers that, because I'm a fighter, like with no energy. He turns around like in half speed and he's like, oh, fighter. That's what I do, Adrian.
Yeah, you know, he talked to her like someone who has been married to her and knew what she was going to say. As a husband who on occasion feels beaten down talking to his wife, that I actually thought that was outstanding acting, because he's like, this is like me going to Trish and being like, I want to play golf on Saturday. I don't go to her with any energy. I'm like, some of the guys are going to play golf Saturday. Do you mind if I go play? And she's just like, you can't do it. You'll die. And I'm like, fine.
We've had this discussion in
Then
Rocky
you just
1.
you turn on No Easy Way Out, and she lets you go.
Right.
Has
Better than
anyone
Hearts on Fire, I guess.
Has anyone had an argument in real life though, where someone's at the bottom of the stairs and someone's at the top of the stairs? Like, what is that?
Oh, yeah.
You have?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Because sound travels much better.
What?
Do I need to remind you of Obi-Wan's
I'm
most
saying
important lesson?
What?
The high ground.
Yeah,
Max.
yeah.
Always have the high ground. You never know when an argument with your wife is going to turn into a lightsaber fight. You got to be ready.
But I think go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, that's like the longest day, too, at that press conference. It's like he is at the press conference, have no idea what time it is. And then she's chased down by reporters. They have no security in front of their mansion.
That might be my favorite part of the movie.
What is happening in that scene? I don't know what she's driving. I was really
First time she's ever
concerned
driven a
with-
car in any of the movies.
It's a Porsche, I think. It's like a purple
Is
Porsche.
that a
First
Porsche?
time she's ever seen in a car, by the way.
It feels like a Porsche.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Is that a
Yeah.
fact?
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
a fact.
Wow.
Look at Manny. There you go. And
Boom.
then it's
That's
still-
the most random
yeah.
fact of the day.
It's
That
such a
win.
random
Max
fact,
is- Max
but
is so jealous.
I was like, Max didn't know this?
No, it's not. Literally, that's why. Is that a fact? Oh, can you cite your source for me, please? Because he's jealess. That's
I'm
awesome.
seething.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Stallone shows up in the middle of the night. She's been sleeping, like, and he just shows up, and it's just like, hey,
Heading to Russia.
heading to
Pack my
Russia.
bags.
Here we go, heading to Russia. It's just like, what?
Dude,
Oh, man.
we have to go back, though. There's so much that happened before the conversation of Apollo and stuff. We haven't even talked about the robot.
Yes.
All right,
Best
this
robot
is
ever.
a valid point. So the movie opens. You got Eye of the Tiger. You get clips from Clubber and Rocky fighting, which is great. The two gloves hit. You get to the Clubber fight. You get to the Apollo sparring in the gym.
It
And
goes
then
ding, ding.
ding, ding. The opening scene, which those are technically the opening scenes, but the real news story opening scene, it cuts to his Ferrari pulling into the house for Polly's birthday. Is there any brother-in-law who is worse than Paulie? Like, as bad as Adrian is, Paulie has got to be the most ungrateful, awful human being in the world, right? Like, Rock is late. He's been like saying terrible things about him. He's like, where are you? Where are my gifts? Where are my riches? Like, if it wasn't for Rocky, just so we're clear, Paulie would still be at the meat factory, right? Just slinging like carcasses of cows
Oh,
everywhere,
yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Or dead.
Absolutely.
Paulie's an entrepreneur, all right? He can make stuff happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He is, I've
His own cigar line.
I told you before, Paulie is singularly responsible for Rocky V, which is the greatest film tragedy next to Coming to America 2 ever made.
I like the street fight.
Home team. What does he say? Home
Oh
team?
my
Is that
God,
what it is?
home team.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
All right,
That
Paulie's
movie.
birthday.
Paulie's
Paulie's birthday.
birthday.
Let's focus.
Happy
Great
birthday,
cake.
Polly.
Great cake.
Happy birthday, Polly. So let's talk about that robot, which actually, in fairness, I do love the robot. Apparently, in this new cut that they're making, one of the things that Rocky's getting rid of is the robot. It was like a huge regret of his. But the story behind the robot's actually kind of cool. Apparently, it was an actual robot that was built to help children with autism. And one of Stallone kids has autism. And as a result of that, he was interested in the robot and he brought it into the movie, which is all new information to me. But when you're co-hosting with Max, you have to find these things out or he'll slam you.
So there's two sides of it, actually. There's that side that actually happened, and there's the CEO and him were at a party, and he just liked the robot. Like,
Oh, so it's unconfirmed? My story's unconfirmed?
so your story is confirmed by Wiki Rocky, Telegraph, and like some UK
guy. Are you watching these guys?
website. So it's like yours is way better. I like your story better.
Yeah, dude,
We're
it's
gonna
like
go
more
with that one.
heartfelt. Instead
Yeah,
of like
let's go with it.
Stallone going like, I like the robot.
I
let's
like
put it
that.
in.
Put it in the movie. Whatever. It doesn't mean anything.
Listen,
Yo,
it was the 80s, right? Like I count nothing out.
Yeah, no, but hands up. Who wanted the robot in
Right.
there? We all love it.
I like the
Yeah.
robot.
Yo,
Yeah.
Who
the
didn't like
best
the
Stallone,
robot?
Stallone does not like the robot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, but the best part when Apollo calls him and he's on the phone.
Oh my
he's
God.
like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Getting dizzy."
Getting dizzy.
I was like, "Yes, that was the best line." I'm like, "Oh, the jokes, the Rocky jokes are so so subtle. You're like how would Apollo know what that even means? And Apollo just like walks right through it. He's like, yeah, it's Rocky saying Rocky, you know, like
I will say like
Rocky.
the secret sneaky sweetest part of this movie is probably the interactions he has with his son. He has these like really beautiful moments where like when and on that scene you're talking about where he's dancing or not dancing, he's washing his car and his son is on the robot. And he's talking and he can't hear because the robot's music is too loud. And his son says, Dad, when are you going to teach me to fight? And he says, you know, I fight so you don't have to fight. Like, that's actually really beautiful. Like, and there's a couple other moments he has with his son. That's all obviously before it turns into a music video. But
you mean when he goes into his room and has like just like a straight up BMX bike in his room?
Why is that bike in his room?
Why not?
Yeah.
But like, it was so cheesily set up. Like, okay,
oh,
first
sure.
of all, the bike
He's aging 5 years every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
He needs the bikes as quickly as possible before he turns to dust.
Yeah, and when he gets, and then he'll get back from Russia. He'll be a totally different kid, different hair color, totally everything.
74
totally
years
different.
old.
Yeah, I mean, well, because they abandoned him. I mean, it's like you have these sweet moments with your son, but then it's like Adrian and Rocky were just like, let's just get the hell out of here and go to Russia. He could just be, looked after by the robot, I guess. Like,
is the robot babysitting? Is Santa Claus robot the one babysitting when he's watching the fight?
yeah.
I think they have a maid too, don't they?
Not that you see.
No,
Yeah.
I think it is. Remember how he's like, feed your robot? It's like it's supposed to be Paulie's robot, but it's not. Like the kid.
Oh, it's
basically
Paulie's
gets that
robot.
gift.
It's Paulie's robot.
Paulie's robot. Yeah, it's Paulie's robot. Just so we're clear, that's the real uncut version that we have.
Yeah.
That nobody wants to see.
Yeah.
So they moved through this. So
And that's the nostalgia test tangent.
again, this movie's so absurd, but I love it.
Paulie's birthday, right?
Yeah, Paulie's birthday, and so Paulie's birthday's over. This romance between Adrian and Rocky is so over the top to me. No pun intended. Like just
oh yes.
like it's a week before their anniversary. If I remember my wife's anniversary and plan something and put it together, like that's awesome, right? Like she's happy. But if I came to her a week beforehand with like a cake and was being nice to her and gave her a gift, she'd be like, "What'd you do wrong?"
Cheating.
Yeah, she'd be like, what did you do? Like, what is riddling you with such guilt that you felt you needed to do that?
When she married a man who wears a scorpion
What
outfit
was
for
that?
a robe. What was that? Yeah. And the gift was terrible too. The snake watch.
Yeah, don't worry. They say it won't bite you. Don't worry.
But how? And I tried, and maybe I'm wrong on this math, but when they said they've been together for how long? I forget.
9 years.
9 years.
9 years, right? So they got married in Rocky 2, right? So Rocky 2 came out in
78.
I did this math before, and I thought the math was wrong. So it's like 78, 79, and Rocky 4 came out in 1985. So they've been married almost 6 years?
Yeah, Sly's
really-
not too concerned with
really
that.
looking-
No, I had to
incongruent.
check that because I was like, wait a
Really?
second, that does not make sense to me. And it's just
You-
like, and
what?
Adrian's like, oh God, he can't do any math. Okay. And
The kid,
He's just
they're
like,
basing it on how
damn
old
The
it.
the
6
kid
looks like
now.
9. It's reversed.
They're like, kid was 3, now he's 8 and 9. We've been together for 9 years.
yeah, okay, thanks for
That's
the
it.
watch.
You know, I feel like this is one of those movies where one day someone's going to come up with a theory that says that Rocky actually was never a boxer. He boxed one time and received a severe head injury, and this is all a dream.
He's in a
and That's
coma.
why the numbers are all screwed up.
Oh, it's like
Kids
Jacob
one
Slatter.
age and another age, and he was like he read a People magazine about the Cold War, and all of a sudden invented Ivan Drago, and
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, that would be deep.
It's like
That
Jacob
would be-
Slatter. These are the last moments
Right.
of his life.
what a great movie that is.
That's a good idea, actually. I'm a little jealous.
Horrible timelines aside,
Yeah.
he has this romantic evening, and then we really then hop into like the first cuts of the absurdity of everything.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it immediately goes from that
Mhm.
to Drago, like a magazine cover of Drago, him arriving at the airport, a press conference, and Apollo's in the pool. Apollo's in the pool, just a raving psychopath. Like he's got a tennis ball, he's hanging out with his golden retriever.
3 of
and
them.
All he sees on that TV
Yeah.
is them being proud of their Russian fighter, which apparently that was a real thing during the Cold War. Olympic boxers were banned by the Soviet Union from competing with the National Boxing Federation or whatever it's called within the United
Wow.
States. So there you go. That's something I didn't know. And boom, like Apollo is just like, it is now my life mission to destroy this Russian. Like he is just furious, right?
Yeah,
So you're saying
like, he
Apollo
was
wasn't living
crazy.
his right life, though? Like, with the 3 dogs in the pool? That seems like a dream life.
Yeah, that's the whole point. That's why this
Oh, you're
is
saying it was
Achilles'
ba-
heel.
Okay, got it.
He saw it took nothing more than seeing Drago on TV to lose his mind and lose his mind. His mind was already lost, right?
Yeah.
He just fought his best friend 3 weeks ago because he couldn't let go of a fight that happened.
Gave him a hat.
According to Dan, what, 15 years earlier, 20 years
Give him a
earlier?
hat. He gave
20
him a
years
hat.
later. He got punched into the future, actually.
Oh, what
Oh,
a great
there it
name for a
is.
movie.
Punch to the future. Yeah.
I'm going to set
that's
up the Google
great.
Doc now.
Well, be careful. Stallone will steal it, and they'll have to sue him like they did the guy who wrote Rocky IV. But we'll talk about that later.
Wow, you had to bring that up, Mal. You had to bring
Kind
it
of
up.
makes me sad when I heard that.
Man,
But it's all right.
Apollo is just on a warpath, and he's got this. It's so funny to think, like, when I see this now, I'm like, that's a weird thing to have this TV out by the pool. Like, what is going on? And music playing at the same time. Like, he's got, like, this is an odd scene. They couldn't just put it inside, like he was just watching TV.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
now, this scene's going to be in the pool, 3 golden retrievers, TV outside by the pool. Blast some.
They should have thrown a BMX bike in the pool too, just for measure.
And then the robot.
It's like a
comes by,
fantasy.
gives a happy birthday, Apollo. It's just- oh man.
Oh man, that's good.
Yeah, so then we're like quickly, he's there, he wants to sit and talk to Rocky. My question is, why is he talking to Rocky?
I think this might have more to do. That scene might have more to do with on the press conference. I think they said they wanted to fight Rocky. They wanted to have an exhibition with Rocky, so
Yes,
it would
you're
make
right.
sense that Apollo was trying to nip that in the bud.
Oh, yeah.
Before they reached out to him. So that actually kind of makes sense to me. But I think that's
so
probably
as
why.
it's like, because Rocky's so like nice and naive, like Apollo basically takes advantage of this if you really think about it, because he sees it and he's probably like, I got to get to Rocky before they do. Let me call him right away. Let me
Right.
set up
Yeah.
a meeting, and then like just basically tells Rocky how it is, and he just,
Right.
and Rocky just listens, and I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, you just took that away from him.
Well, don't forget, Wet Blanket Adrian tries to wet blanket Apollo too.
Oh my God.
Yes.
You know, I don't think this is a good idea.
And
you know,
Apollo just looks at her like,
No.
I didn't buy you a snake watch.
I love how horrified Apollo is by the robot too. He's like, "What is this?"
Yeah. He's like, Rock, you got a lot going on over here. I just need you to be in my corner. You
That was
know.
the best. And Paulie's like, she's in love with me. I'm like, oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
What?
Paulie.
I believed him. Burt Young's got some acting chops.
Burt Young was amazing,
Amazing.
in
Back to School.
Back to School. Yeah.
He's amazing in everything.
Well, he's
You know, he's a painter now. You can buy his stuff. He's like a really good painter.
I'm surprised you don't have his artwork.
No,
Didn't he paint in Balboa in one of like
In
wasn't he,
Rocky
like-
Balboa, he was painting
Yeah.
in the meat factory, I guess, when he got his job back.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, he was
yeah.
also in the show Russian Doll recently, Burt Young. He had a
Yes.
real small part where he was like living in an apartment. He would come in and out of this apartment. And I was like, oh my God, it's Burt Young.
he's been old forever. I'm jealous of people who are like 50 for 40 years. Like, how do you do that?
Right.
Like, you get old quickly and then you just stay there.
And that's a nostalgia test tangent.
Can we talk a little bit about Drago?
Yeah.
Dolph or Drago?
Dolph. Let's talk about
He's
Dolph.
like the 8,000th pick.
8,000 people. And here's
Is that possible? I don't understand that.
Here's
That's
what I
not-
find even better about that. During this period of time in the 80s, there are only 2 people that had godlike stature: Schwarzenegger and Stallone.
Mm-hmm.
They could essentially do whatever they want, say whatever they want. They were in charge. And that Stallone openly admits to it now, that he initially hated Dolph Lundgren because of how perfect he was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was so built and so lean and so like perfect that it like bothered him. And I just find like that jealousy, I guess, to
He was
be
Apollo.
incredible from a guy who was on the top of the world, right?
Yeah, but he's a small guy. Small guys are always like that.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it
dude.
does.
Sylvester Stallone, he was Rambo.
Look at Napoleon. He had half the world. He's still pissed off.
Look at Napoleon. You guys, if you guys ever do teasers for your episodes, you should pull Max saying, "Look at Napoleon." That's fantastic.
Dolph Lundgren's the perfect human being, and he speaks 7 languages. He has a degree in chemical engineering, and he got a scholarship to MIT. Like, how could you be more I'm jealous of him right now just saying that.
Oh yeah.
Well, there you go.
Why?
You know it was
No,
Dolph
You do
Lundgren's,
not, are you
like,
not jealous
I
of Dolph
can't,
Lundgren?
I can't get over the Napoleon remark. I have to be honest. I'm still thinking about that.
Do you know it was his idea to like make Drago stoic? Because he thought Apollo and Clubber were very like, you know, animated, in your face, talking all the time. And so he's like, he was just going to be stoic and not really talk.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
It worked.
I'm not going to
perfect.
give
Yeah.
him that
And
much
he-
credit, okay? Because
What?
he had just come
What?
over to the United States in 1987. He was in Masters of the Universe, and in that movie, he couldn't speak English yet, so they were
Yeah, that's
feeding
true.
him the line. So I don't think it's his choice to
That's a
make
good
him
point. That's a
stoic
good
as much
point.
as he's like,
That's a good point.
I'm not gonna. I can't.
Dan,
I don't have
it's
enough
written in
lines.
facts.
Okay. Sorry.
Well, he had his choice of 8,000 people, and he picked this one guy who couldn't talk. That's the choice.
Well, he also was almost responsible for Carl Weathers quitting because he threw him 6 feet across the ring because he had a black belt in ninjutsu or something, and Carl Weathers was like, "I'm done. Get me
I'm
out
not
of
gonna
here."
get in the ring with some random guy who's just like has I can't take direction because he can't understand what I'm
Speaks no
saying.
English and
He
looks like
doesn't
he could kill
understand
me.
stuff.
Carl Weathers was a NFL football player. It's not like he was a slouch.
I mean, Stallone went to the
so-
hospital. He was in like the ICU. This guy was on
the
a
heart
rampage.
swelling. That's crazy. That is
Yo,
crazy. Yeah,
just,
so he took
don't forget though, like Carl Weathers also didn't really like Stallone when he first auditioned for Rocky 1. So like this guy might have caused some problems. Like, you know,
Well,
this whole
Weathers
movie's
was
about
probably-
people being jealous of each other and even on and off the screen.
Well, then in Happy Gilmore, he thought Adam Sandler. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Well, if I was Weathers too, I'd be pissed. It's like they're killing me off when I finally am like a part of this giant franchise.
I mean, he had 3 movies where he was a part of the giant franchise.
Well, think about all the Creed movies now. All that Creed money, he could have it.
I don't think he's
Good.
starving. I mean, he's in The Mandalorian. He's doing just
Yeah.
fine. So, do you know who trained Dolph Lundgren to get physically prepared for Rocky 4? Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's wild.
Yeah.
How wild is that?
Unreal.
You think if Sly knew, he would have just called it off?
They were so competitive with each other.
Yeah, no, I'm saying. I think he would have actually.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
You don't
Egos,
think he
man.
knew? Like that was
I don't think
happening
so.
before the
I don't know. I mean, they really were kind of crazy with each other.
What
They're-
was Dolph going to say to anybody?
Well,
He can't even speak.
Have you ever heard the stories about like I'm totally gonna butcher this, but it's a great story. So I think Schwarzenegger leaked that he was interested in Stop or My Mom Will Shoot on purpose to get Stallone to take Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. So I mean, they used to like troll each other with stuff like that all the time. Again, I could be mistaken on that, but I'm like almost positive that happened.
That's awesome. We've brought that up in the first episode.
And that's a nostalgia test tangent.
Oh man.
So all right,
Yeah.
so let's go.
Jesus.
We were talking about the press conference. So Apollo's doing his riff. Drago's not talking. Rocky makes fun of Apollo's height, which was such a nice. Again, Rocky with the dad jokes. He's like the original, like one of the original.
Yeah,
dad jokes.
I like
Total
that.
dad joke.
He doesn't
so good.
swear. He's got like nice. No, you're totally right. He is totally a dad
Yeah.
joke guy.
Apollo's like, I've been with the best. I beat the best. Like, I am the best. Oh man, I love it.
Oh my god.
So we're gonna talk about Ludmilla. We're gonna talk about Brigitte.
Oh well.
Yeah,
God.
go ahead.
So I love her. She's great in this movie.
Well, she's an Olympic swimmer.
Yeah.
So I wish that they had more children than the one that just popped up in Creed. But I mean, here's the thing about Brigitte, right? I equate her role in this movie to being a watered down version of her role in Beverly Hills Cop 2. Like they could have done so much more with her in this movie. Like they give Adrian more time on screen than they give his wife, and Brigitte could have been more entertaining than listening.
She's
to
good at the
Adrian.
press conferences.
She's okay.
She's great. Very, very bad. Her Russian accent is fantastic.
Do you know that's a funny thing? Of all these Russians, that not one person was
None of
Russian.
them.
Like in the stadium was all Canadians. Everybody like, and I find that ironic too. Canadians, the nicest people in the world, were out there saying like, "Boo, Rocky, boo."
Yeah, I mean, Brigitte, she was in this in 1985. Then she was in Cobra in 1986, and then Beverly Hills Cop 1987. So like she has
Yep.
Yeah.
good run there for 3 years.
Yeah,
Well,
she-
you forgot the run of she was married to Stallone in 85.
Yeah, no,
divorced
18
in 87.
divorced in 87.
18 days after this movie came out, they got married. It was the day I was born. Is the day they got
And,
married.
oh,
Makes
really?
me very
Because
happy.
they
Yeah, I know,
divorced
right?
on
Yeah.
the day I was born on July 13th.
Oh, you're
Shut
kidding.
up. Oh, my
That is
God.
wild.
I was born.
Oh, that's
I
wild.
was born July 13, 1982. They divorced in July of 13th of 1987. I believe it was that they got divorced.
So
Oh, I
the
thought it
sys-
was like you were born. I was
No.
like, yo, that's crazy.
Man, you should
No,
know I'm the same.
Yeah, I was like, what?
I've been keeping.
Here's
it
a
for you.
fact you guys might not know. The Cisco robot filed a restraining order against Polly the year I was born. So that's, I don't know if you guys know that or not, but it was pretty cool. I feel so left out. I'd make up anything to be a part of what you guys just disclosed.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Bro hugs.
god!
Oh
they,
my god.
But
So where are we? We're press
well,
conferencing?
yeah. Well, I love the guy the Russian guy that's with Brigitte because like he is like chewing the scenery. That guy's monologue to the press
Oh
was
my God.
And Nikolai.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, he hates America. He
Oh.
hates America.
So do you know the philosophy is that he's cheating? I mean, he's with Ludmilla and that Drago knows it. And that's why he's upset with him in the ring when finally he gets he's getting hit a bunch.
Where did you get that?
Yeah, there's some rumors about that.
Wow.
Rumors from where? Are you just hanging out and someone was like, "Hey Max, I got to tell you a rumor."
Max is really trying to make this movie deep.
TMZ just displayed.
Right.
That's not deep. That's cheating.
Listen, I don't know if you guys know this or not. I'm going to tell you something right now. This is a Buzz in the Tower insider information. We brought it up on one of our episodes. There is an episode that we recorded, only one episode that we recorded that we haven't released, and it's about Howard the Duck. And it's an hour and a half of him trying to convince me that Howard the Duck has redeeming qualities and that it's deeper than I took it for. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't convince you of anything.
Here's what's
No,
going to
you can
happen.
convince me of a lot.
You really
can't
don't like
convince me
Howard
there's
the
a
Duck.
secret affair going on. I can't stand
And
Howard
you
the
won't
Duck. Howard the
release
Duck
the
and over
episode?
the top. You know what? If we ever get a Patreon, I'll put like $1 million on it, and you can have the Howard the Duck episode.
We'll do the Howard the Duck one, then we'll do an over the top one, and then we'll just release them because man,
Oh,
we can
that's
do that.
that's a great idea.
Howard the
We'll
Duck.
call it
I don't
our
know
low,
how
we'll call it
I
our
even-
low ratings extravaganza.
What's more wild, the fight with the Dark Overlord or this Apollo
I'm not letting
Drago
you do
fight?
this. I'm not letting you do this. I shouldn't have even brought it up.
No, I'm bringing it back to the fight.
Nope, stay away from the Dark Overlord. Move it to New.
I was
All
just
right.
going. I was going
we
there.
can't talk about the fight without talking about James Brown because
I feel good.
Oh my god.
That's what I was about to get into, Dan.
James
Dude,
Brown. I
best.
wrote down in my notes as soon as this happened. I was like James Brown, and then right under that I wrote Hugo Boss because I was
Those
like,
sweatshirts. Oh my god, they're the best. They're the best.
So big.
all three
It
of
was a
them.
walking advertisement. That's all.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I loved it.
I think it's great that James Brown probably made them play the whole song.
Oh yeah.
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 Whole song.
Well, you know what? I would have thought that if it wasn't for every single montage in this movie runs the whole song.
This
yes,
is true. Damn
Yeah,
it,
it's
you're
true.
right.
I love it.
Yeah.
He made it for the movie because apparently before this there was no need for a Living in America song.
No.
And it was his first top 40 single in 11 years.
That's
and It was the
wild.
last one of his career.
Yeah.
But isn't that the same with Robert Tepper? Like this song,
There's no easy
No
way
Easy
out.
Way Out. Okay.
Yeah.
That was like his biggest hit. Rocky 4 has some of like these, it had this power to make these songs huge. And it's crazy.
Because
Oh,
it was
yeah.
music video
That-
for
exactly.
every single one of those songs.
It was the highest produced, most expensive music videos ever
The
made.
movie
Yes.
cost what, $28 million to make, and it made $300 million.
Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
highest grossing sports film for 24 years
Unreal.
until it was dethroned.
Yeah, by
24 years.
By The Blind Side, which is not a sports
Oh,
movie,
boo.
by
Right.
the way.
And
What?
and the thing that's
Blind-
amazing
It's not. It's a movie about Sandra Bullock.
The Blind Side's a sports movie.
It's a Sandra
wouldn't
Bullock
say-
movie. It's a
yeah,
Sandra Bullock
it's like-
device.
Yeah.
is
I have to
Caddyshack a
agree.
sports movie?
It's Freedom Riders with football.
Maybe.
Caddyshack's a sports
It's
movie.
Dangerous Minds of football.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I like that. I mean, the funny thing about Rocky IV, we talked about this at the beginning. When you talk about these numbers and you talk about the staying power of it, this is the best example of critics hate it, fans love it, and nobody cares in between. I think it's the second worst ranked Rocky movie on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
I think the only one ranked worse than it is Rocky V. But if you go to the general fans and you look at their rankings, it's the highest ranked Rocky.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah.
not meant for fans. I mean, it's not meant for critics.
No.
I was going to say this before.
Yeah, yeah.
They basically were like, let's go deep, and then let's hit him with the montages everybody loves, and then we'll finish. And that's it. And everybody's going to love it. And we do. We're literally doing a podcast that we're so excited about, a movie that has a low Rotten Tomato scoring, but we're just like, we don't care. Give me all of this. Yes. The bad jokes, the idiot Paulie, the Apollo's like, I want you. The dancing disaster, the king of Sting.
Oh my God.
The Count of Monte
His intro
Cristo.
Count of
his
Monte
intro is
Cristo.
the
The
best.
Count of Monte
The Count of Monte Cristo is the
It's
best.
Fisto, not Cristo.
Oh, does it Fisto? I didn't know that. That's funny.
Why would it be Monte Cristo?
was thinking
He's
the
a
sandwich.
13th century.
Yeah. I was thinking the sandwich.
I said that
He's a
too, Mom. I
fighting
was like, I
sandwich?
just said a sandwich.
I literally thought it was. I always thought it was the sandwich. I always thought it was weird.
Oh my God. Yeah, but
No, I mean, you're 100% right. Like it's so unbelievably ridiculous. Like every part of it is just, even the fight sequences themselves. I think that if you look back at 1 and 2, the fights feel more realistic.
yeah.
Like when Apollo's getting slapped around in the ring, like he's like a rag doll. He's just getting thrashed.
But back up, when they actually touch gloves, you will lose. That's the best angle I've ever seen. Like his gloves don't move at all, and you get this almost like tire iron sound when he hits
I mean,
Dolph's glove.
the best Drago quote has got to be,
It's you will lose.
No, if he
You
dies,
will
he dies.
lose.
If he dies, he dies. You're
It's
crazy.
It's
If
the
he dies,
voice.
he
It's the
dies.
voice.
If he dies, he dies. You're gonna tell me that's not better than guys? What do you think? Correct
I think
Max
the
on
best
this.
Drago quote is, it's not even him saying it in English, but everybody does it. They go, He's made
piece
of iron. Yeah.
Good call.
That's a
Good
good
call.
one. Yeah.
All right, let me rephrase my question. What is the best in English Drago quote?
I'm saying if he dies because he says it publicly to the whole crowd.
While he's
Everyone's
dying,
sitting
right
there
next
just
to
like,
him.
if he dies, he dies. And everyone's like,
Thank
what?
you.
Like,
The most blatant indifference to life ever.
Yeah.
Like his wife is ringside. Drago's wife is trying to be friends with Apollo's wife, and he just murdered Apollo,
Yeah.
and he's just like, if he dies, he dies.
I mean, he threw the ref across the ring. There was no other person
Yeah.
to jump in.
That was a
Like,
damn towel.
they-
Exhibition.
Love
Tony Burton is dialed up.
He's great.
Love
in
him.
this.
This is his like victory lap from
He
this whole movie.
was great in this.
He's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
During this fight, the focus and like the slow montage on
This is
his face.
Super Bowl. This
yeah.
is his Super Bowl. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Dude, but he was telling. It's
You're right
so
there.
crazy. The movie would have been. They would have stopped this fight like.
Oh my
first
God.
like
Every
30
Rocky fight would be stopped 1,000
No,
times.
this one would have been, no, you're right. You nailed it. This is not even like a contestable one. Like, and then I love that Rocky's holding this white towel and he's like thinking about it and thinking. And then as Apollo's dying, you can hear out of the corner of his mouth, don't do it. Like,
Yeah.
he's about to throw it. It's nuts. Nuts.
I mean,
They actually say
Apollo
that
falling
he
down
would-
freaks me out every time, by
Oh
the
my
way.
god, he did so
That
good.
he
Carl
falls
Weathers-
forward and
oh,
the
that
twitching and all.
twitch is
Oh.
just that got me again.
Yeah.
When every time I see this film and that happens, that hit me because when I was a kid and I saw that, I didn't know what to think. I was like, that's
Right.
death. Like it looked like it was over. But if he's hitting at like what 2,150 pounds per square inch,
1850.
1850 then, yeah.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
is the real
until
record
they
for
juice
punching
him up
mobility.
like Bane, until like
Allegedly. Lies and propaganda.
They show the needle. Did they have to do
that
that?
scene
Sure
is
they did.
ridiculous.
I like a clean Drago.
So funny story. Most MMA fighters and boxers actually average their pounds per square inch at right around 1,800 to 2,000 square feet of pressure. I just want you guys to know that. I don't know why.
Really?
Everything they overdid, like they went over the top with everything in this movie and exaggerated it, but then they gave like statistical numbers that are like mediocre.
I read that the 1850 was the highest human punching power at the time.
No, that must have been from the person who gave you the rumor about the dating between the two of them. That is false.
What do we do? We're in an impasse.
We're going to fact check
I thought
it. and these guys
1990
will
was,
back it into
and
editing.
that's the whole thing. That 1990 comes up on the screen, and that's when Rocky V was released.
Oh, that's weird.
That's what I
Super
read
weird.
somewhere.
It just sounds like someone
Max,
would.
take some notes. We'll have to look into this.
Someone's just trying to connect. It's like everything's connected.
So he dies.
He dies. All right.
And
And it's not
cut
Rocky's
to-
fault. If you do see it, the ref tries to stop it. Drago actually hits him. Even if he threw it, Drago's killing Apollo. He's
Okay.
he's a
Yeah.
murderer.
Right.
He's a murderer.
Where's the doctor, by the way? Why is there not a doctor at this fight?
Big on my
It
notes
upsets
right
me.
here. Where is the doctor?
He's trying to get through the crowd of like reporters who were just like,
Yeah.
what's happening? What's happening?" He's like, "What do you think? Were you just here?"
Someone said the only way this movie gets better is if James Brown gave Apollo CPR and like revived him. He's like, I'm a doctor. I feel good.
Oh,
You're gonna feel good.
That's
Oh my
That would
god!
add to the movie.
oh my
Ugh.
You find out James Brown is a doctor.
Oh,
God.
that would be great.
I'm sorry. I should have left him at home. This is classic, Max. Classic. This is when the wheels come off. I need you to pull it together with me. It'll help.
So now
We'll see
we're
what the
at
world's worst funeral speech in history.
Cut to
There's so many hard cuts in
Ray-Bans.
this movie, and they're just like
Oh,
still.
there's zero transition.
Aggressive.
It's like blood-stained shirt, cut to funeral. Cobretti's wearing his glasses.
Are those the Cabretti glasses?
They look the
they
exact
have
same
to
as
be.
the Cabretti
No,
glasses.
wait. The Cobretti ones
yeah,
are
that-
reflected. They have.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, they didn't feel
No.
reflective.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but those glasses are like I have that in my notes, like glasses. Like they're
You have very
like,
profound notes.
like just like it's highlighted like funeral glasses. I'm like, this just looks so good. Like he looks so good in a funeral.
It's not the best time to look good. You know, you should be sad.
He looks over the top
You-
good.
Well, that's the
Listen.
thing. Like they're like Stallone, you have to act sad. He's like, I can't act. All right, we'll put glasses on.
Hey, hey now.
He can
Come
act
on.
sad.
Come on.
I just watched Rambo
Yeah,
3
what?
yesterday. He can
Yeah.
be sad. He can be sad.
When you're bawling and being sad, there's an element of
Mm-hmm.
that that makes you the victim because everybody's then catering to how sad you are. And he was unwilling to do that because he felt guilty and that the death was somehow his responsibility. So he was stoic. Come
Got
on,
it.
guys. Acting 101 here. Come on.
The speech, though.
It wasn't that bad. It didn't.
You'd be okay with that speech at your funeral?
No. No, you're not giving a speech at my funeral because you're going to get up there and you're going to start talking
I'm
about
going to say I have to pee.
the Goonies, and you're going to have to pee halfway through it.
Bro hugs.
So
Yeah.
this is when I would say post funeral scene is where we get a nice hard right on this movie, right? Like it cuts to the Rocky Drago press conference. This is one of the few times where I think Paulie's fantastic. In general, like he kind of rides my nerves sometimes, but like his outburst during this, when he finds out that Rocky isn't going to get paid for it, and he's like, "Are you nuts?" The back and forth, the lies and false propaganda.
I'm the unsilenced majority.
Yeah. Now he's like, "Whoa, violent? Hey, we don't keep our people behind a wall with machine gun." I mean, just the
Dude,
context of.
I heard it was even worse. They cut it.
Oh, yeah, they cut out what he actually
I heard
said?
they like really went after Russians in the script, and
Oh, wow.
they had to cut it down a little bit. It wasn't.
Well, they have like a cultural sensitivity person on the set. who's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
Hey,
they're like,
I know this entire
"Oh."
movie is literally the most anti-Russian thing ever.
You
but
think so? I thought they did okay with both sides.
I don't know.
They didn't make him that evil. They made Drago evil, but
it was the whole thing was a trope, right? It was like at the time. I mean, you remember the middle of the Cold War. It was communism is best. Individuality sucks. You know, like we're a collective. We're smarter, better, stronger, and we can beat you at everything. And then the U.S. is a bunch of like showboating top dogs, but it ends up that we're better. So there you go. Just take that, Russia.
Another Hasselhoff hit.
Take that, Russia.
Oh man. So yeah.
You will
So
When
lose.
did he
This
go to
is-
this press conference? That's what I want to know. It's a hard cut from the funeral. Then it's just like, all right, guys, I got to go.
Yeah.
I got a press conference.
Don't they
set
do
up.
a newspaper flash?
They do a newspaper flash, but it's,
I don't remember.
It just doesn't.
It's still
work.
pretty hard cut.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
doesn't. It just seems like it's almost like immediate.
And he obviously doesn't talk to Adrian about it.
No, and that actually is my favorite part of the movie is that he doesn't even check with her. He's just like, yeah. And when the press shows up and she's stunned, that's
That's what I'm
awesome.
wondering if like
You have so
are
much
we
hatred.
missing that in the director's cut? Like, will we see that? Like, this movie was supposed to be an hour longer. So like,
So
was there a talk?
there is
a little bit.
So there is a scene where he goes to the commission at least and talks with them.
But
I
he
know
doesn't
that.
know the extra scenes because when the press shows up at Rocky's house, Adrian has no idea what's going on. So he
True.
doesn't tell her. He's not making her aware of what's going on, which again, I think is great.
So Max was right about the he's supposed to go to the
commission.
The commission. So
Yeah,
maybe he
yeah.
goes to the commission first, finds out they're like, we're not going to commission this, and you're not going to, the belt doesn't go with you.
That part of it, I mean, that would be kind of cool to see. The part that I always get hung up on is like, I understand. Okay, look, like they still want Drago to fight Rocky. Like Drago killing Apollo is meaningless. Apollo had been retired for 5 years. He was older. So like they still have a want for that fight to take place.
Who does?
So that Rocky folded on the Russians and Drago. I mean, there is value for them in fighting Rocky. But he caves on everything. I'm not going to take any money. We're going to do it on Christmas Eve. We're going to do it in Russia. Like all those consenting on all of that to me just never kind of clicked and made sense because like they wanted that fight if as bad as Rocky wanted that fight.
Dude,
right?
I think they would have had that fight. If he really wanted it, they would have stayed in the U.S. for it. Because they definitely really wanted that to make Drago look better. But okay. they were
Legitimize
saying-
him.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think if he fought,
he would have fought anywhere.
and why not take money? Go
I'm
ahead,
really
man.
frustrated by that too. It bothers me so much to this day.
That fight would never have been televised in the United States if they were doing it in the Soviet Union and they were televising. How did people get a pay-per-view from the
They had those two guys there from U.S. The
No,
USA
those guys
network.
never made it home. Like, those guys never made come on.
There's
Like,
a
I'm watching
sub-story.
this
There's a
kid's watching it on pay-per-view. I'm like, this would never happen. They would be like, if it's an unsanctioned fight, he gave up the title. He's in the Soviet Union. They're not pay-per-views. Like, HBO's just like, yeah, let's put it on or whatever. It's like, oh, we got the
Pay-per-view made more money than Rocky did on that fight. That's where it got too personal to me. Like I get it. His friend died. But like, he's like, I'm not taking the money for it. You want to argue that you're a fighter. I'm a fighter. That's who we are. Because now all of a sudden you're talking like Apollo because that's what Apollo told you. So you're saying that to Adrian. And he's like, we can't change. I'm a fighter. And it's like, yeah, but fighters make money. And you're deciding like, no money.
It was weird. He could have donated the winnings to Apollo's charity. He could have done $1 million. I didn't
given it to
understand.
But we're
his
still
wife.
talking about it 35 years later. That's the bold move. That's the power
And then it would have
move.
saved him from like Paulie getting rid of fast forward.
Oh yeah, probably would have just spent the purse anyways.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean,
Doesn't matter.
there's like some foreshadowing in that argument he had with Adrian on the staircase when he's like, this house the cause, it ain't everything. Well, yeah, you're going to be eating those words after you get back from Russia in like 25 years. I don't know.
It's 25 years later.
The only words that Adrian should ever eat, she looks him in the face. I just can't leave this because it's mind-blowing, and says, it's suicide. You've seen him. You know how strong he is. You can't win. Like, that's the most demoralizing thing. And I think his response is, you always tell the truth,
He
Adrian.
does say that.
Like,
Yeah.
Adrian always tells the truth.
Doesn't Drago have like 70 pounds on him?
it doesn't
and like
matter.
5 feet.
Yeah.
Yes, on everyone. He was 7'8" and 300 pounds. It doesn't matter.
That was Thunderlips. We're doing 3. All right,
True.
careful.
Yeah, he fought Thunderlips and he was fine. You love Thunderlips.
Is the Thunderlips fight the best fight in all the Rocky movies?
Best
It's
fight.
the most entertaining, I think,
It is.
actually.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a great fight. I love it.
Because you're like, there's no way he can win, and then he gets on his back. And you're like, all right.
And then he bare knuckle punches him in the face. Like, it's just like,
Yeah.
what is happening? This is charity?
Everything about that. Yeah, didn't he say like charity hurts or something? Or I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then what? His
Thunderlips versus Drago. That should have been a fight.
Oh yeah, but then his kid looks weird in Rocky 3. There's too many kids in this like whole franchise. It's like 1,000 children.
And that's a nostalgia test tangent.
The lack of vote of confidence by Adrian, and then he's got to get his thoughts together. And
No.
this
It's not even his thoughts have to come together. They have to drop the best music video ever. That's what this is.
ever. Oh man, he gets in the car and your guy Robert puts together. There's no easy way out. Is incredible.
First of all,
like,
incredible.
He gets in his Ferrari. It's got to be what, like midnight? I mean, it seems like it's pretty late, right?
it's late.
It looks late.
It's
And
dark.
he-
I mean,
he's
they
just-
didn't
he-
even have lights on. They're trying to save electricity. These guys are
And he-
multimillionaires, and they got
Right.
Adrian talking through the shadow of the moon. Or the light of the
And
moon,
he's-
not the shadow.
yeah.
The shadow.
The shadow of the moon.
And he's just flying. He's going like 100 miles an hour, just
Well,
having flashbacks of everything.
So he's angry shifting. Is there anything better than angry shifting when you're like thinking about stuff
There
and like a
isn't.
montage is happening? I just
No.
love it.
I love when the song.
This
Go
thing
ahead.
just hits so many feels. Again, it's a recap, just in case you missed the recap in the beginning.
From all the way
the
back,
Rocky.
like the George Washington Apollo
in
stuff.
case the depth and difficulty of the story has lost you, they want to give you the cliff notes of what's going on.
Just in case this is the only Rocky you've ever seen, they're like, but what? Why did he like Apollo so much? It's like, hold on. We're going to show you these things. And we're going to bring in Mickey a little bit. We're gonna,
Oh yeah,
just a little.
That always touches the heartstrings.
So,
That is the only redeeming quality of Rocky 5 is when he has the quick Mickey flashback. Get up, Rock,
man.
because Mickey loves you.
Yeah. Dan, what do you think about this recap? Let's hear it.
What do I think about the Robert Tepper recap? I think
Yes.
it's way better than the actual Robert Tepper video that was put out for this song where he's just standing in a factory just singing to the camera. I always
I
thought
gotta
this was
check
the
that out.
original music
I didn't know
video.
that existed.
I didn't know that existed.
Yeah,
I gotta check that out.
This is not the actual music video for this song. This is an actual Robert Tepper song, and he has an actual music video that's not also for Rocky.
Did he make this song
I
for
don't know.
Rocky?
No.
He didn't.
You know what this song's
But
about?
oh God,
That there's no easy way
divorce
out,
it's
right?
a divorce song.
There's no shortcut home.
And it's a divorce song. He was
Shut up.
divorcing his wife,
Yeah.
and he wrote this song.
That's right.
Oh, that makes it even better. Rocky
listen to
storms
the
out of the
song.
house with Adrian.
Yeah, they should have played this on Over the Top. That's a divorce movie.
Oh my God! How many references? This is gonna be
But
a
they
quiz.
weren't
As
divorced.
many
Who
as
knows
Max
what
can
happened?
do,
References
as many as
over
he
the
can
top.
do. Just close his mic. That's what I do when we get.
You
into
have the mute
over top.
button.
I do have the mute button.
Coward.
I am a
Dude,
coward.
but
It's a
like,
divorce.
real quick
There's
on
no
this
easy
montage-
way out.
Can you imagine if you knew that was a song about you during your divorce? I'd be like, screw you. I'm taking everything you own.
Right?
Yeah, and then when it's
That's
in
so
Rocky
true.
You
Like,
go
you're-
to divorce court, you'd play the song. It's like, give me everything.
Right, you're the ex-wife, and you like turn on the radio, and you're like, next, the great hit for Robert Tepper. There's no easy way out. I won't give you a dime.
yeah, so
Yeah,
the,
so like
the greatest
th-
montage,
look-
one of the greatest montages,
best montage.
and he looks.
no,
You
this
think
is
you think it's the best one? You think it's the best montage in the
man.
movie?
Oh,
because
Because
I
we're
love
about to
the
get into the
bro
other
hug.
two. Well, let's
The
get
bro
through the
hug
other
is
two
my
and then
favorite.
break it down.
We got to get through the
Bro,
other two.
yeah.
and then we
It's
gotta
the
talk
awkward
about
the
this.
slow
Olympics.
hug.
The Rocky 3
the
bro
beach.
hug.
Yeah.
Oh,
Rocky
yeah.
III
Yeah.
bro hug is shown like 3 or 4 times in this montage, and I'm like, it's such a weird hug.
They love each other.
So,
Yeah.
so you're gonna love this, Manny. Follow me on this. Would you equate their bro hug to the scene in Zoolander when they have all the gas pumps and they're like squirting each other. Every time I see that, I just hear jitterbug. Like, and I see them like dancing with each other because it's so awkward and weird. Like you're right. It's like slap hands. Like I just don't know what's going on.
Yeah, like they were like, and they're like, yeah, one cut. That's good. Let's we'll do it in editing.
But that's the best scene.
That should have been redone. Nobody hugs like that.
Can you imagine being on the beach with your family and just looking over and seeing these two like just ripped athletes like running and racing like makes sense, right? But then all of a sudden like by themselves celebrating and having this like hug fest.
In the water.
What is
in the water, jumping in the ocean together, like they are so. It's like
so 80s. It's so 80s, guys.
with the cuts.
Oh.
I mean, all of it.
And they also recap what just happened 5 minutes ago.
That's right.
Of course, they showed him talking to Adrian.
So this montage actually has things from the future as well. They show clips of Drago from Drago and Rocky's fight later because he's wearing different shorts and his eyes cut. So it's like they literally threw in past, present, and future into a montage.
I'm telling you, that's why I'm wearing the Back to the Future hat. Because I'm like, this is really a time travel movie. We don't even.
A time traveling boxing movie would be dope.
Yes.
Well, that's why he came with Punch.
You have to
what
go-
was it? Punch to the
That's Punch
Future.
to the Future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming out soon.
You got to
That's
go
why
back
he
and
ends
fight
up
your
winning,
dad or
because
something. Yeah.
He probably lost, came back in time, went to No Easy Way Out, and was like, I gotta learn how to beat this guy.
That's why he's so slurry. The time travel affected him.
Our first legit montage completes. And then again, these hard cuts, like we're right back to Rocky saying goodbye to his kid, Adrian in the window saying goodbye. And I don't even think there's
Such a mean way to say goodbye.
I don't even think I don't
She
even think
didn't
there's
say
is there even a solid 2 minutes between that and then we're cutting to the plane. And that's where we get a little. I love this song, right?
Song.
Some Survivor. Two worlds collide, rival nations.
Great song.
It's a primitive clash, venting years of frustrations. I mean, every line in this is built for this movie, right?
Yeah.
Is it East versus West? I mean, come on.
Man against man, can any nation stand?
Stand alone in the burning heart. I mean, that's. It's so good. Do you know what this movie is, guys? I'll tell you what this movie is. Max will make fun of this. I'm going to give him his 2 seconds to make fun of me. I don't know if you guys know this, but I used to play high school football. Max, go ahead. Here we go.
He was big for his age.
Every single high school football player in the world has a Walkman or a CD disc. Now it would be an MP3 player, whatever. iPhone. Now the kids these days have all their stuff. But you have
Kids now?
Yeah, the young kids, they got their cool stuff. Back in my day, it was a tape cassette player. But you have a warm up tape that you listen to. This movie is a warm-up movie.
Oh my God.
Like if you were going to go party with your friends or beat someone up or just want to like go after some Russians, you're throwing in Rocky 4. Like it's like 300 and Rocky 4. Are the
Vision
two,
Quest.
These
Vision
are
Quest.
Vision Quest. Yeah. Vision Quest is a real movie. This is purely like
Yeah,
sugar.
this is adrenaline.
This is
Yeah.
sugar. This is the Red Bull
Yeah.
of like movies, right? Like let's go.
I was a high school wrestler, and
Nice.
before tournaments, every time, the day before, because you had to wake up at like 4 a.m. to get on a bus or whatever. Me and this one guy, we would watch, for some reason, My Cousin Vinny, because it like calmed us down.
I
right?
love My Cousin Vinny.
Identical. And then this would be the last movie we watched before we went to bed.
You know, again, they land in this plane. They play this amazing song, and then we get to one of Max's favorite scenes in the entire movie.
dear God.
Paulie falling in the snow.
It's like 40s level Charlie Chaplin. Like they're all serious.
he like yells, he's like, ah! Ah!
Like he's drowning. And doesn't he ask like where's like the vodka and TV or something like that?
No, I don't think it says vodka.
I thought it
Does
was
say
like
vodka?
He talks about the Rose Bowl.
He was like, "Where's the
The
end?"
Oh,
antenna.
yeah, the antenna.
Where's the antenna? No Rose Bowl yet. There's like an error. Somebody will correct that. Apparently, the Rose Bowl is like on January 6th. So he.
Oh, yeah, they would have been gone anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's
And
not
he has
true
a di-
because
I lo-
obviously they didn't leave until like 25 years later.
I love that he has the jacket that has the "Don't Tread on Me, America" on the back of it. Did you notice that?
No. You're
Yeah, I
missing the
noticed
better
that.
part. His Eagles winter hat is the better part.
No, it's not. That's not as good.
Come on, he is. If you knew Eagles fans, he is an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
Like actually, of anything that's like a stereotype, forget like Italian stereotypes. Like Paulie is an Eagles fan. Like he is. Every Eagles fan I've ever met is Paulie for
Dude,
sure.
that bar that Paulie hung out at in Philadelphia was probably an Eagles bar.
I think
like-
it's the same bar from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right?
No, it's not.
I'm kidding.
Patties?
Manny, your face is incredible. You're like, oh my God, that's the most incredible thing I've ever heard in my life. You were literally had a moment where you were
I
like
was like,
mind
what?
blown.
Mind blown. Max like, no, it's not. I know where that bar is.
I know.
I've been there.
Yeah, he's like, I have 3 bricks from their masonry work. It's in my collection. It's funny. I make fun of Max, but it is the most comforting thing in the world when you're co-hosting a movie podcast with someone who is the Encyclopedia Britannica on facts about movies. It's incredible. Like I am sometimes blown away by what he comes up with.
Aw.
Bro hugs.
Back to the plane that they flew him in on. It reminded me of the Cleveland Indians plane that they had to take.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
In Major League.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
As soon as
crappy
it pulled up,
plane.
I'm like, this is a Major League plane.
Oh, that's
It
so
also looked
funny.
like
It's like a Temple of Doom
Oh,
plane.
you just exactly. I was thinking. I was like, it looked like just like the plane they jumped out of in Temple of Doom. I'm like, again,
Oh
they
my
went
God,
back in
that's so
time.
funny.
Like this is supposed to be 1985. It's like they flew to Russia. It's like, all right, drop everything. We're going back to like what 1942. It's like,
But which was crazy because like Drago, his scenes are all like electronic technology, and then yet you see this plane. Like Rocky not only requested woods, he requested a bad plane as well. He's like, no money, got no money.
Yeah,
We'll
he wanted.
fly you with
He
the
had,
coupe.
he had to clear his head. He wanted to get away from the distractions of like safe travel. Safe travel's a distraction.
What else could have Rocky done to make this fight harder for himself? Like, is there anything else?
Yeah, he could have brought Adrian with him from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
No, she inspired him. Cafferty doesn't come on until Adrian comes.
Whatever, dude. Whatever.
You're gonna do it.
That's another great part of this is they get in the plane, they settle into the house, and the conversation that he has with Apollo's trainer.
Tony.
Well, slow up. No, Alvin and the Chipmunks are playing in Polly's ears first. That's so
Yes.
good.
And
And Tony Burton's winning a chess. Checkmate, friend.
I know, and he was an actual chess
And he
player.
beat Stanley
We all
Kubrick,
know.
yeah.
Facts and
Yeah.
facts and facts.
Does everyone listening know this stuff? You're just like yada-yadaing it.
Yeah, would you say
Go
he
ahead.
beat Stanley Kubrick during the taking
The
of
Shining.
Shining.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
an accomplished chess player. I apologize, Max. Continue.
That's it.
All right, that's
jerk.
it? Are you
Move
sure?
on.
That's
Yeah.
all
He
right,
was like,
Sorry
Max
that you
has been
skipped
waiting,
scenes.
like, can we please talk about Tony? Can we
Like
please
literally,
talk
I was like, Max, here's the deal, dude. We're gonna talk Rocky 4 with the Nostalgia Test podcast.
Shameless plugs.
And he's like, oh my God, man, I can't wait to talk about that chess game.
That's the best because it's
This
like,
is Tony Burton's movie.
He was great.
So let's go to his coup de grace.
His speech. His
Yeah.
speech was incredible. Just like, he was like a son to me. Now he lives in you. I mean, it's funny. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but at every turn, all Rocky says again and again is, I'll do my best. Like he never, like he doesn't really evoke a promise. He says it there. He says it when
Do it.
Yeah, we'll
Do
talk
it.
about later when Paulie says the only redeeming thing his character has ever done. But he also says, I'll do my best there as well. It's interesting. It was an interesting choice for him to kind of take that route, I mean, my favorite line, you're going to have to go through hell worse than any night, worse than any fight. But in the end, you'll be the one standing. And I
Do
just,
it.
yeah,
Do it.
Do it. You know what to do. You know what you got to do. Do it.
do it.
Do it.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Do it.
It reminds me of Starsky and Hutch. Remember
Yes.
Bacardi and Cola.
Yes.
Do it.
It reminds me of True Lies when he's Schwarzenegger's playing
Now
the
dance
tape.
sexy.
He's like,
No,
do it.
dance
Do it
sexy.
slowly.
Jamie Lee Curtis in that movie. Yeah.
Oh man, take a deep
God.
breath.
Sorry.
Whew.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
What do you guys think comes next? If you had to guess after that, a montage, perhaps.
Another montage. A great.
Have we said the percentage of montages? Did we already say it?
The whole movie, it's 39% montage, but
39%.
Ooh, he's close.
montage.
It's 31.9.
31.9. Sorry.
There it is.
Sorry. I
%.
I meant
I'm
31.
such a nerd. I'm
1.9.
sorry. I'm such a nerd.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
cool. And then after this mark, I believe it's within 50 minutes left of the movie, it's 51%.
Yeah,
Right?
It's heavy on the back end.
God.
Just
Heavy.
montage.
You hear Max? He's like, definitely 51%.
51% of the rest of this movie. 50
That's
minutes.
incredible. Half of the
51%
back
of
end
it.
of this movie is montages.
When you break this down, this movie was 60 minutes long of actual new footage. That's a fact. Because 31 minutes was montage.
I was thinking, I was
That's
like, I want to know how
incredible.
long this script is. Because I'm sure the script for the end fight was almost longer than the regular movie script before the fight. Because the fight scene was like a 30-page script that Stallone wrote out that they had to memorize to kind of every punch, every step, everything that they did.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did
I
that
didn't know
in
that.
Rocky
I
1
didn't know
too.
that.
He had to write a full script
A full fight
One
script,
night.
yeah.
He had a night to write an entire fight script in Rocky 1 because they're like, we need to know how this is going to go because the stunt fighters left. So then it was just Carl Weathers and Stallone, and he had to write an entire script overnight of how the fight was going to go so that they could memorize it.
I didn't know
so
that.
then he did it again, a 30-page script for Rocky 4. But that has to be almost just as long as the regular film before that
dialogue
because
for
there's
Drago.
nothing going on.
Do you think there's like a page that just says placeholder and it's like montage? It's like 5 pages, then 6th page montage. So this particular montage, the name of the song is called Training Montage. I mean, that's the laziest thing I've ever heard in my life, but that's okay.
It's brilliant.
It starts with the zoom in on Drago on the mirror, which is also a throwback. Was it Rocky 2 when Apollo had Rocky's picture on the mirror? Is that right? Or am I flipping it? Did Rocky have
No, it was
Right.
Apollo.
Max is so happy you just said that. He's like, yes. Oh, God.
It's good.
It's like facts. Feed me your facts. And then it cuts to the juxtaposition of Drago and Rocky and their different training. And I actually really like that song, but it's very like tech noir.
It's great.
Yeah. It's not, there's no bad music in this movie.
Rocky's jacket. I want that jacket.
And his hat.
Have you
I
ever
want
seen
that
anyone
too.
with that jacket?
No.
Why
They
is that?
sell it online if you look for Rocky's jacket.
No way,
There's a
really?
bunch of
Okay.
great-
Love that
Cool.
jacket.
It is a great
Love his
jacket.
jacket.
His boots and his like tight jeans.
Love
Yeah,
how
he's got the skinny
stands.
jeans.
There's like a point where he's just like standing, like hip out a little bit, and I'm just like, man, Stallone.
No one is dressed for winter in Russia. They're all like, just, like they're just dressed.
So here's a question. You can go to a Halloween party dressed as either Rocky with his nice jacket, or you can do the Drago one-lit, singlet wrestling kind of vibe with the spiky hair kind of wig. What would you do?
I'm going Rocky.
Yeah, is this a real question?
I go
You're
Drago.
asking me?
Yeah.
Can I do both somehow?
So let me cut through. Let me cut
Bottom
through.
down,
Let
just
me,
white.
let me,
No,
let me, let me
Halloween's my
explain.
favorite holiday, so that I'm like, wait, you're threatening
Here's
me
what-
with a good time.
here's the
Am I
question
going
to
to two
Max.
bars? Because one bar, Rocky, other bar, Drago.
The real question that Max just asked is it acceptable for me to wear a wrestling singlet and go out dressed as Drago? And I think we can all tell him, yes, it's okay for him to do that, just not anyone else.
I like when people do things that I want to do.
Oh my God.
So you want to go as a, so there's a singlet that you can get. Wait, is this a costume?
No,
Like
I
you
don't
can
think.
get this
I don't think. I don't think.
Max is gonna make it
I
one.
don't think anyone's ever requested this in their life.
That's
Let's
it
move
might.
on. I
Oh,
regret
no,
all
I'm like-
this.
Drago looks
I'm
like he's
like,
about to like.
So Drago's running around in a
yeah,
circle,
yeah.
punching.
Yes, yes.
Does that help? He's like
feedback.
punching
No,
like
now I gotta
frantically
remember.
while-
It's
on
like the
side.
Running Man costume.
yeah.
Ben Richards.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm.
Max, I can't get over your. Max is famous for these binary questions. So let me ask you a question. If you had the opportunity to eat a snail or wear a tutu, which would you do? And I'm like, Max, what
Wear
does
the
this have to
tutu while eating
do
a
with
snail.
terms of endearment? And he's like, I don't know.
So Rocky's chopping wood.
Max is desperately trying to get off of this. He's already tried to segue us back to it twice. Let's just sit on it for a
I'm
minute.
down with it, Max. I'm down with
Good.
Okay, me and you. I'll meet
There's
you at your
face
bar.
training involved. I'm down.
That's LITHOLGY Brewing.
Oh, there you go.
We contour our face to make our like jaws nice and tight. What? Drago's got a serious jaw. I don't have
Or
a
just
jawline
draw
like that.
his face
again,
on
another-
the box and put the box on your
Yeah.
head and just draw his face
There you
on the
go.
box.
Oh, that's a good call. Do it like Awesome-O, like from South Park.
Awesome. Come on, let me tell you about your best friend.
And that's a nostalgia test tangent.
All right,
So-
so we're back at this this
The greatest montage ever. Yeah.
Well, no, this is the quickest cut between two montages in the history of film.
And they use
It's Adrian shows up.
Wait, we're gonna
so
do
we
some more
already
than the-
skipped over the one that's like shows. Oh yeah, because we already talked
he
about
throwing
Yeah, 'cause
rocks.
remember Max
like-
yelled at me for talking about going to the top of the mountain because it was early, and then
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
talked
yeah.
about
Well,
something.
we didn't get to
with
talk
the-
about Drago groaning when the incline is all the way up, and he's like,
Drago groaning when the incline is up is when
name of
he-
my punk band.
is when he runs up
Yeah.
the mountain, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
he outruns the car.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Max, if you could just calm down. I'm trying to get you there for the third time.
Okay.
Wait,
Adrian shows up.
Yeah.
And thank God, couldn't have a movie without Adrian. Whoopity-doo, Adrian's there. And
get there and get to this place. Who did she contact in
and
Russia?
they left the kid with the damn robot.
yeah, right.
I'm telling you, that kid was just with the robot. They're like,
And his two friends, and you got to wonder what their parents were up to. That they were like, "Yeah, go hang out with your what was he in? Probably 10 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, 9 years old,
Yeah.
25 years old, whatever, depends."
He's
Yeah,
gonna
go
be
hang out with
25
your 10-year-old friend and his robot. Awesome-o, which is great.
Adrian shows up.
And they embrace.
They do.
And she's gonna be in his corner.
Yeah,
so
no
that's
matter
good.
what.
No matter what.
I love how he repeats it. It's always good when you
That's
repeat
it. That's it. And a hug.
Yeah. And then the piano comes in.
Oh, yeah.
And then they start doing the jump rope. They focus on his feet right away.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going at that jump rope. He's almost angry at the jump rope.
and this is another song about hearts being on fire.
Oh, man.
Strong desire.
Is there a lot of hearts on
Rages
fire
deep
song?
within. Fever's rising high. Look, here's the thing.
In the burning heart and then hearts
you
on
couldn't
fire.
go any further?
Both in the
You
same
had to
soundtrack. I mean, come on. They were like, what should we
Stallone-
call this? Burning heart. Okay, so what should we call this one? Hearts on fire.
Is this your favorite Stallone beard? Because this is my favorite Stallone beard.
Nighthawks.
I like this one more.
I like
Nighthawks is too unkempt. This is like just a little bit, and it's
The out of control sergeant.
how many? Let's figure this out. How many months was he training in Russia?
We're thinking 8 weeks, 12 weeks, right? He's Italian. You can grow that in a day. Manny, you grow your beard in like, what, 36 hours?
Well, I'm Portuguese. It takes me a little bit longer.
That's gonna be more.
No, I mean, some people have thought I was Italian, but I actually don't grow my beard that often. This was another episode of ours that just came out that took me a very long time to start growing a beard until I became a brewer, and all of a sudden, my beard just like shows up, just like in Santa Claus. You know, like when he becomes Santa Claus.
He immediately shaves it and then it pops
Yeah.
back.
Once you,
you've
like,
got
touch
you've got a
tops
little bit of a
of it.
Rocky IV beard right now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like
Yeah, it's kinda close, yeah.
it's kind of close to the Rocky IV.
I
beard.
might be planning a Halloween costume.
Oh man. That's dedication this early in the season, getting ready for October.
I'm obsessed.
Here's
You know?
here's an
That's good.
interesting fact. I got to get the exact numbers, but you guys will like this. So when Drago is doing the press, assuming that the plates that were on that are standard plates, that would have been 455
Unreal.
pounds, which is a lot for a standard press.
Yeah.
Like that's like Olympic. I don't even know if that might be more than like
I don't think it's
Olympic.
possible what he was doing.
Yeah, I mean Stallone. You figure what Adrian's probably like $150. Paulie's like 320. You know, like I guess you have to add that up and figure it out. But
I love when he's chopping the wood, though. When the tree falls, you can actually hear at the very end, there's a little bit of a chainsaw noise because they used the chainsaw and they didn't take that out.
Great. Yeah, how are you not cutting out that sound? Like,
I know.
Well, they're like
That's
they're like
fine.
Hearts on Fire is just gonna totally take over. So we can put a chainsaw sound in there. No one
yeah,
cares.
just amp it up a little
Just
bit.
nerds.
Right? Bum bum bum. Hearts on fire.
I feel like that the guy who's singing the song, I'm sure I can just look it up who it is, or Max might know. But
Cafferty.
John Cafferty.
Yeah.
it's very like sitcom song voice, like sitcom jingles and stuff.
Yeah, like the guy who did Family Matters and Step by Step.
Show me that smile
Yeah.
again.
Yeah,
Show me
that's
that
good.
Hearts on fire.
That would have been amazing. Oh my god, a Rocky IV sitcom. They just use Hearts on Fire at the
You
beginning.
know what?
We can make a trailer.
I was gonna say, this is actually would be the funniest thing in the world is to take the cut up montages and like throw them to like you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have Hearts on Fire.
And it's just Stallone's face, and that was like, like
Oh my god!
veins
The
just
Drago
dropping
screams
out.
are
They have the
incredible.
spies following him.
Yeah.
Why are they-
no chaperones?
Why are they
Chaperones.
following him?
Oh, that's standard operating procedure in
Yeah.
Russia. In the
But why
80s.
does he want to lose him? Like he's just gonna go somewhere higher.
He's just making a point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't follow
Well, I
me.
love how, like-
This is freedom versus communism.
Okay, don't follow
But
Rocky.
I also love that like Rocky, like as always,
He forgets where
he's
he is.
helping
He's like,
somebody.
Always.
He's always helping.
Oh yeah,
people.
yeah.
Always.
The guy's carriage falls down. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like, and then they those guys in that little town probably liked him. You know, at first they're like, "Who is this fool?" And then they're like,
Who is this
those
fool?
guys are not watching TV, by the way. They didn't see the fight. Anybody in that town that he ran next to, they don't know that he's fighting.
The only reason I might throw a wrinkle into that is state-sponsored television. I wouldn't be entirely surprised if everybody knew who Rocky was and everybody knew who Drago was because like they propped him up as like the hero and savior of the
Oh
country.
my god.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But some of those exercises that Rocky was doing, pretty intense.
Intense.
They just keep getting more and more intense every movie.
The Skyloft hat, like ab stuff, that's crazy.
Dude, the abs thing, I didn't think abs existed like that.
No.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I gotta look at, I'm talking about Stallone's abs, but
do it.
whew, like,
Oh, don't worry, Max is
Yeah.
on the same page.
I'm
with
Yeah,
you.
you
just
can,
like,
they
dude-
call them drain gutters.
yeah, what?
Because the sweat, they call them drain gutters. Because think about it.
Stop.
I don't want to think about it.
You
Don't
know
tell
the
me to
name.
think about it. Do you think I was joking when I said, "Don't worry, Max is ready to go"? Like Max, I've had serious conversations. Like we'll be in a podcast, and he'll be like, "MG, the thing about Harrison Ford is you could just get lost in his eyes, am I right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like for sure, he's a handsome guy, Max. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think it's great to talk about how attractive men are. I just don't know that it requires the 6 straight minutes that Max commits to it sometimes."
It's the Seinfeld. It's like, not that there's anything wrong with that. Yeah.
No.
that's
Yo, with the abs, like his abs were like on top, like abs on top of
Ridiculous.
Abs. Like there's a shot
yeah.
that him next
He was
to Drago,
jacked.
and
Oh my God,
I'm
he's
standing
jacked.
up for no reason. He's like, because I don't have abs, and it's like, I was just like, is this real? And it was. They just glazed them up with some water and grease or I don't know what.
Yeah, and how he's positioned on the ab stuff was crazy. It's like yoga before yoga.
Yeah.
He was like a Bikram guy.
The fact that they've come to this conclusion that he needs no fighting training, no sparring. He just literally needs to physically torture himself as much as possible. His entire strategy on this, I mean, he says it to Adrian. His entire strategy is, yeah, he's bigger, yeah, he's stronger, but he's going to have to stand in front of me and try to kill me. And like, I'll still be standing when he's done trying to kill me. And that's the whole fight, is him just taking an enormous amount of abuse, which is what he did to Clubber.
Yeah.
Right? Like that was the whole strategy in Rocky 3, is he exhausted Clubber by using himself as a punching bag. And then Clubber got tired and he was able to beat him.
But doesn't he do that in like every
He
movie?
gets his ass kicked in every
takes a beating.
movie.
He does take a beating. He does take a beating.
This is the first time Rocky beat someone on the first go.
Max is right. The first time Rocky beats his opponent on the first way
that's
around,
right.
because Clubber was a rematch, Apollo was a rematch.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and he's like the worst blocker ever.
Yeah.
He blocks with his chin. It's a good blocking device.
That goes into the punch. Like, oh, you're going to punch me? I'm going to meet you halfway. Here you go.
Okay, so we're done the training montage. Let's rank them.
Wait,
Whoa.
no, the training montage.
We're not done? We're not done?
We
You
gotta.
were talking about
we
like
can't.
Drago's.
Him and his head's in a cage. You can't talk about like the thing. Like Drago's exercise with his head in a
when he's like-
box. Like a
Yeah, and
metal
he's got
cage.
the little the EKG stickers
All
on his
the
chest, and you didn't talk
like the
about
Ghostbuster
and you
PKE
didn't
meter.
talk about the yelling Drago twice. He had
Twice.
2 Drago yells.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
No, there's 2 Drago yells. He's got the one where he does the press, where he yells Drago, and then he's got the top of the mountain one where he yells Drago.
Yeah.
That's not the one when he's like floating over the fire.
No. It's where he picks up the
And
he
he's
picks up
just
the
like-
carriage.
No, that's
no.
he's
This is
just
the one where he
doing
picks up the.
That was a
Yeah, this is the one
beautiful
where
shot.
he-
That is
he
a beautiful
Yeah,
shot.
he's just shaming
It is.
fire,
Legit-
shaming
he's
everybody.
I'm like, oh. it's
This
great.
is the one where he pushes the carriage that he's got all the 3
Oh,
other
yes.
guys sitting in, and when he
Yeah.
gets to the top, he goes Drago, and then he gives another one of those at the top of the mountain.
When he's got the shoulder vein highway going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's running in boots that you could never run in. He's like,
And
oh,
he
I'm gonna
climbs
take
a
the most
mountain that would
difficult
take
boots.
He climbs a mountain that would take anybody else 2 days in a Sherpa, and he's just like sprinting up the side of it.
It makes me sad. It's definitely not him because it's all wide shots far away.
Boo!
Yeah.
Nobody likes those kind of facts.
What?
Stick to
And did you
script.
see that you could see in the movie where they did a couple of the takes because you could see
Yeah, from the footprints.
Yeah.
Shouldn't he be yelling Apollo's name at the end, not Drago's? Like it's for Apollo?
No,
No? That's not more appropriate?
no, I wouldn't. do That's weird. You're yelling the name of the guy you're trying to kill.
Okay.
It's a vengeance film.
Yeah, but it's like, this is for you, buddy.
Why wouldn't he yell Mick?
Because Mick does nothing.
Mick
he's
just
only
died.
doing
Literally, Mick just died.
Oh, yeah. Mick did just die.
Mick and Apollo. I mean, this isn't like Star Wars. Their Jedi ghosts aren't going to pop up and give him advice.
You
It's
were the
all about-
chosen one.
Rocky has one of the most sped up careers. If you think from Rocky 1 to 4, like how time just goes, and it's just like,
Oh my god!
it just seems like this all happened within the span of like 5 years. Like,
I would like to mention that we didn't mention in No Easy Way Out, the Spider Rico fight was in there.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Oh,
You're
just to
right.
put
Where
that
he's
in
like
there.
bent on the side of the ring, just like punching him in the ground. Yeah, which is that might be my favorite Rocky fight, to be honest with you.
the best
It was
Rocky
a street
fight.
brawl.
Yeah, and
Spider Rico.
actually,
What a
the
great
fact
name.
that you said that was the only one that Drago is the only one that he beat first
You're
time,
wrong.
we don't know.
I am
Spider
wrong.
Rico.
Yeah.
Spider Rico was a rematch or not.
Mm.
We don't know. They might have fought each other before.
Yeah,
That's something
Yeah.
to look into.
we could say we could say it's only title bout. Oh no, because forget
Drago
even that
wasn't in
because
the
Yeah,
title.
because
it
he was
wasn't even
defending the
a
title.
bout. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that,
Boom.
Max. Look at that. So I'll tell you a funny story about Max having the wind knocked out of him on a fact. Max pulled one of the best facts I've ever heard from an 80s film. It was that Bill Paxton was the only actor to have ever been killed by a Terminator, a Alien, and a Predator. Because he was in Aliens. He was killed by the alien.
Mhm.
In Terminator, the first one, he was like the cyberpunk guy that got killed by Schwarzenegger.
With the Night Slasher.
And in Predator 2, he was the cop that got killed by the Predator. And Max's fun fact was that was the only person who did it, until a buddy of mine from high school was like, the guy whose name I'm not going to remember, the guy who plays Bishop
Yeah.
from Aliens. he has been killed by a Terminator, a Predator, and a alien as well. So that is the only other time outside of right now that I've seen him get the wind knocked out of him on missing a fact because of Spider Rico. So congrats, guys.
So let's rate the montages. What is your one? Yeah, what's your 1, 2, 3? We've gone through all of them now. Everyone's just.
It's like picking your favorite.
No,
child.
it's not. It's Cafferty. It's Cafferty's the winner for me, at least, because it just goes in with the angry jump roping, and at the end with Drago and the 20,000-foot mountain and all.
I don't know, man.
Damn it.
I like There's No Easy Way Out.
That's good too.
I'm gonna go.
See,
I'm gonna go Cafferty 1, and then No Easy Way Out 2, and then the other, and then training montage after that.
Training montage.
So I'm going to have to say No Easy Way Out just because I think about that montage more. And
Really?
I play it yeah. Like I think about that.
Are you just in the
probably-
shower and you're like,
No, I'm like filling kegs or cleaning kegs. And I'm like, there's no,
And you're like, there's no easy way out.
I gotta clean the kegs. Which I do sing. for myself.
That's LITHOLGY Brewing.
So yeah, I gotta go No Easy Way Out, and then it was a close. It's a close call though.
I'm with you. That's my order. No Easy Way Out, Hearts on Fire, Training Montage.
Yeah.
The reason Hearts on Fire is great, but Hearts on Fire is, to me, it's you're getting to the conclusion of the story, so it doesn't feel as jarring. Like No Easy Way Out is you don't even see it coming. I saw Hearts on Fire coming. Like you knew,
because there was a montage.
you knew that was coming. Hearts on Fire, we knew it was there, but No Easy Way Out is just like, okay, he told Adrian he's going to fight in Russia. Now what? And and he's just in that car and he's angrily shifting.
The shadows
I'm
going,
with
the
you.
lights going by when he's driving.
it's
It's
the
close
best.
up to his eyes, and then the recap, like it was like watching a finale of a sitcom, like where they show you all the different scenes. You're like, oh, this is why this franchise is amazing.
And he sees himself.
It's a
die.
highlight reel.
Yeah, and he dies
Yeah,
in his
I
own
know, right?
montage.
Yeah, he does. He does. He's dead, actually. Guys, we're talking about a guy who's just dead. He's in a coma, and he's never
my
met
God.
Adrian. Adrian actually married somebody else that came into the pet shop, and he's just there.
Spider Rico.
Yeah, she married Spider Rico.
Can we talk about how, like, in the the last training montage, or maybe it's the training montage, Dolph Lundgren is killing sparring partners? Because if he's punching that hard, he's killing sparring partners.
Well, no, actually, I don't know, did Max mention this or not, but they were all having affairs with his wife. So they would just line them up one by one.
well, you know,
That's
it
how
says
they got
21.
me
It's a rumor I heard. It's just
Shut
a
up,
rumor I
shut
heard.
up.
It's a rumor I heard.
So you know, at the end is 2150 psi that when he hits the thing finally. If that actually was how hard he was hitting people, that's 80 times the normal force of gravity, and your body would explode.
Hey, you'd be fine.
So the
cowards.
first hit, the first punch, Stallone
like
should have just evaporated. Like,
All right,
So, guys, the fight.
Wait,
Guys,
no,
the
Paulie
fight.
for the
Oh,
walking.
Paulie, his one redeeming sentence.
Yeah, come on, break
Is
it
he
down. I
really
want to see
redeeming?
you.
I think this is the
Okay.
one
He
Rocky.
couldn't even hold his.
because he couldn't even last that long.
But-
Right,
But
But this is the one Rocky film where I think Paulie is the most
likable.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with a word, and I was like, "Is it likable? Is it this?" But yeah, likable. He's like more comic relief than just dirtbag.
Well, he's pure in Rocky 1. He's pure dirtbag.
yeah.
Okay.
Like pure dirtbag.
Rocky
right?
3
Oh,
too.
he breaks that pinball machine in Rocky 3 and goes
Yeah.
to prison
Yeah.
and tries to fight him in the parking lot. I mean,
Yeah,
It's a good punch.
he's a great
No,
brother.
he's not afraid of Rocky, which is crazy in a way.
Stupid.
well, Rocky 1 he is.
Well, yeah, so he obviously has like PTSD from being in the war, you know.
Yeah.
So like this
Oh,
stuff.
he does? I
He's
didn't
a
know that.
veteran.
Yeah, he's a veteran, and like
That's how he.
there's
owns
like
that house.
backstory to him.
Don't
and,
you remember
like,
when he yells like, "I'm a veteran"?
I didn't until now.
Yeah.
So he's a vet, and that's how he has that house
From the GI
Vietnam
money,
vet,
yeah.
the GI money,
Yeah.
and his backstory is like he's alcoholic
Yeah.
because of it, and all that other stuff.
Don't
so
worry, Stallone
yeah,
took care of the whole thing. He's he's a genius.
Oh man, Paulie gives this tear-felt,
Breaks down.
Yeah, like I'm not one to. I'm gonna sound like Rocky when I say this. Like, I'm not one to say these kind of things, but if I could unzip myself and get into, which was super weird the way he said it. It was very Hannibal Lecter. Like, if I could remove my skin and take your skin off with a nice Chianti, I would. You're the only other person that I would want to be. But then 5 minutes later, when like Drago takes his robe off, he's like, "I was kidding.
Yeah.
I don't want to be you. You're gonna get murdered."
When his voice cracks, he's like, "You're a heart rock." I love that. And then he goes,
He gives him a
and then he
kiss.
goes, "Now blast this guy's teeth out," and that fires me up.
And Rock says, "I'll do my best."
the best
try.
at the beginning of that, he goes like, "Rocco, I know you're busy. Like you're about to go find this animal."
You're about to end the Cold War, but if I could have a minute of your
I
time.
couldn't do it in our cabin when we were trying to survive with fire. I couldn't have a heart-to-heart with you. But while you're going up here, let's talk about something. So,
Oh my God. I forgot to bring this up, but it's worth going back to briefly. But do you know, as we were talking about the montages and the songs, do you know that the soundtrack to Rocky IV was nominated and won a Razzie for the worst musical score in 1985?
It's
well,
preposterous.
it isn't a score. I understand that. It's the best soundtrack, but a score.
Right. The snooties and the reviewers, they hate this movie, but like I ride so hard for this movie. I love it, you know?
Well, same thing.
It's a great. You can't call it a score. Like we had a measurement score on a number one because that movie, motion picture, amazing score. This is not a score. This was a soundtrack, and it's an amazing soundtrack. And if you all don't
I agree.
you can go scratch. Go unzip yourself, jump out in the river, do whatever you want. I don't care.
Unzip you.
When he takes it back, Paulie takes it back by saying it's because Ivan says, "I must break you."
Oh yeah.
And then he's like,
That's a great
"Remember what I said? Forget it."
Forget it.
That's what it was.
I must break you. You were arguing before that if he dies was not as good as.
I just like how he says you will lose. He just says it like a video
But
game.
like even that, like I even would argue I must break you.
Yeah, it's
even
better. It's
than
better.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
You know, in the Italian version, it's translated
I
to
must break you in two.
Yeah, then that's what they say.
I do
That's
know
what
that.
they say. It's like it's the same.
And she
Like, it's
stepped
so
on the
funny.
ball.
Well, why don't we ask Manny? He's Italian. Did you know that, Manny?
Cut that out before.
Oh, that's so awesome. Hey, it's right next door. It's right next door.
I mean, my
And then
family's
some.
Italian. I will say that like all the Italian things, like the Adidas sweatshirt, I looked at them like, I need that shirt. I need that Adidas.
The Adidas is
sweatshirt
great with the Italian colors. Oh my
Immediately.
god.
Oh, you could get the.
Oh my
you could
God.
get
Like, I
that
want
shirt.
that
It's
now.
not cheap.
We did like creating the perfect action star.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
and
yeah.
for best attire, he picked Rocky from
I did.
Rocky IV.
I did. So if we were going to build an 80s action hero, and it was our weird sciencing an 80s action hero, and we had all these different elements, like one of them was fighting ability, weapons training, backstory, and one of them was fashion sense. And we put Rocky from Rocky IV up against Harrison Ford from Indiana Jones. and although the satchel and the hat and the tweed jacket that Max loves was definitely up there, you just can't beat Rocky's fashion in Rocky IV. I mean, he is dressed to the nines. He looks incredible.
And he's got the Apollo trunks on
Yeah.
too. I like that
Yeah,
as a nice
That's
touch.
right. Yeah.
No, it's all good.
Let's talk fight. Gentlemen,
I'm still
This
pissed
is-
off
this is-
that he didn't get paid for this fight.
yeah,
I mean-
right?
How much could he have
He's-
made?
What about like a rich guy just being like, "Listen, you don't want to get paid for this fight, but I'm like supporting your
Like Warren Buffett?
training. I'm just like you're going here to represent the United States of America."
Right. How
during
does the
Cold
how does the
War.
president not call him up and say, "Hey, we're going to give you $1 million"?
Yeah, like I'll fly you there. You know, like
You don't have to take this
In a
crappy
normal plane. Yeah.
it's like, come on. No, right? I'm like, right, this guy was the champion of the world at the
Yeah.
time. Okay, And
No
they were
longer
just
though.
like, no.
They stripped his belt.
The amazing thing about the fight, you kind of know what's going to happen, right? So like, I think anytime you're watching a movie like this and you already kind of know what's going to happen, it takes a little bit of the fun out of it, but they do a great job of keeping you entertained with this just back and forth brawl. But even more than that, then you learn about Stallone telling, Dolph Lundgren, like, hey, no, I want this to be real. Punch me. And he punches him so hard, like we said earlier, that he had to go to the freaking hospital because his heart was swelling. The emotions are high. As absurd as it is there anything better than when you hear, he's cut? The Russian's cut. I mean, that's amazing.
That's the best point in the movie.
That's amazing.
It's the best
And
point.
the only like great part of the score in the movie because like
Right.
there's like so much noise that happens at that time, and it's like yes, and this is like it was amazing.
It's your if it bleeds, it can die moment,
Yeah.
right? From Predator.
Right.
Like you're like,
He's
it-
not a
it-
machine.
it
He's a
humanizes-
man.
Oh my
he's a
God.
man. When he says he's a man, then the music like folds in right then.
Yeah.
And
Again,
Drago's
Tony.
like he's freaked out that he
Yeah.
got cut. I don't even know what to
Never
say.
got
I'm like,
cut
getting
before.
excited. Yeah.
He never got cut
Yeah,
before.
and it's like Tony
So
Burton
his-
is just killing. He's like, he's not a machine. He's a man. And his ad libs from the corner, like I was watching the movie with subtitles because I'm like, I got to catch some of this, are amazing. Like he's just throwing ad libs from the corner, and I'm just like, that, all done in ADR, and it's like unbelievable.
yeah, nothing lines up. By the way, nothing.
Yeah. No, when he says he's cut, it's before he hits him. Actually, it's like while he's winding up.
Yeah, and like when the announcers are talking, they're not like they show you like a wide shot. The announcers aren't even talking, and
Oh yeah.
the announcers
Yeah, no,
repeat
they
themselves like
scrambled.
3 or 4 times. Like, look at this crowd! This is a crazy crowd. It's like they just like,
There's-
oh, look at this crowd! It's a crazy crowd. They don't like Rocky.
Well, they're
They don't
scared
like
out of
Rocky.
their
It's a
minds.
hostile
They're
environment.
like, oh,
Rocky's
boy.
not used to such a hostile environment.
Yeah.
I love that I see 3 of them out there lying
Yeah.
too.
You know, that's a play on something that actually happened.
Yeah, the 1933 boxing championship match.
See, this is what Max does. He like
Yes.
casually says, "Oh yeah, that one thing," and then I ask, he's like, "Oh yeah, it was December 5th,
Just in case you
1933."
didn't know.
Yeah,
Max
that's
Bear's
cool.
corner.
It's cool.
So
I'm a machine.
Dan usually is the facts guy where he just tells me like the gross. We haven't even talked about that. What did this gross?
We did 300
Like,
million.
over
Yeah, we did.
over
Over
$300 million.
$300
When we
Yeah.
do that like 2 hours ago.
Yeah, we got it in early. Yeah, we really did. I could talk about this movie forever, but they're so smart about the fight that they only show the first 2 rounds and then it's montage till the 15th round. Like they
Yes.
show just enough of the fight where you get kind of a vibe for it, but it doesn't take away from the impact of the second round. And then the 15th, you know, the big ending, big exclamation point on it.
Yeah,
It's a perfect way to show a fight.
Yeah.
it's the way to end the Cold War.
Well, let's talk about that.
Well, let's
Wait,
talk
we're
about
not
the
talking
idea that
about, like,
Gorbachev.
everything that's
is
going on.
the-
The Cold
The guy is supposed to be Gorbachev, and every time something happens with Drago, he's like looking at the other guy, and I'm just like, that is
I
the
love it.
funniest part.
love it.
That is
Everyone's terrified.
comedy.
in this movie.
yeah, like-
Everyone's
It's
terrified.
like comedy
And- and
101.
and
It's amazing. It's
they
hilarious.
lightly you just start to hear like a few Rockies, right? Rocky, and you get to the end of this movie, and I have to tell you, like, it's the beauty of a movie like this, and this is true with all movies, right? Anybody that you talk to that loves movies, they'll tell you the best part about a movie is you suspend reality. You get so into the movie that you don't ask that question, and for them to get us to suspend reality in this movie enough to be bought into that speech at the end of that movie and Russia changing and we're all changing and better that 2 guys kill each other than 20 million and the crowd goes wild, to buy into that and say, I love this movie. I don't care what the critics say. Like, it did its job. It won. It won.
I
It
say
got
that
us in
all
there.
the time to Dan. Anytime we do the test, I'm like, if the movie is really bad, you cannot suspend your disbelief of it. Like, you're not
Sure.
in that reality. And I say it all the time. I'm like, and you're right. You're absolutely right. That's why this movie is so good. Because at the end of it, you actually believe that this man changed 30,000, like over 30,000 people. What did they say was in there, Max? How many people were there? 30,000.
I don't know that.
I love that he went to
I don't know
Max.
that stat.
I just
how
know
many
they're all
Canadians
Canadian.
were
I don't know
there?
how many there were.
Yeah, how many Canadians?
I didn't know the
were there?
Canadian actually.
Yeah,
I didn't
they're
know
all
that.
Canadian.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
funny.
Didn't that?
It was
isn't there a
the
fact about,
stadium.
Like, the
Oh, go
guy
ahead. No,
who
go ahead.
plays
Go ahead.
Gorbachev, like he's played him before in another film.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, I
That's
didn't know that
wild.
either. Yeah.
thought so.
So the production team turned the Vancouver Argodome into the actual stadium where the thing was, and it was with thousands of Canadian extras, and they made it into a Russian
Wow.
arena. So no Russians, all Canadians.
And they sang that national anthem was like Stalin era lyrics in it too. So this was like really, really like, I mean, when they made that moment and that painting comes up, I'm like, this is ridiculous, the whole thing. But again,
Oh yeah,
so was when Apollo fought him. I mean, they just basically
and there was a bull with smoke coming out of
and
its
James
nose and
Brown
red
dancing
eyes.
across
Yeah.
the stage, and
Do you know why that bull was there, right?
he was supposed to not.
No, I have no idea.
No
Because
clue.
Drago's nickname is the Siberian Bull,
Mm-hmm.
and he was supposed to punch it, and it was supposed to fall
Oh,
apart.
that's why it came
Yeah.
apart.
All right.
Did anyone think that his knockout of Drago was kind of anticlimactic? I wanted to see like Drago fly out of his shoes. He kind of spun around and fell against the ringside. You know what I mean? It wasn't like
No, I thought it was
He's not
good.
a great
You
actor.
think so?
that's why.
Yeah, I didn't have an issue with it.
I wanted more Marty Wait,
He's
what
not
did
a
he
great
say?
actor. That's why Dolph Lundgren is like
Yeah.
he turns like.
Yeah.
"Brr."
Manny and Dan, going back to, you actually perfectly led into one of your favorite shticks that I love about your guys' show is now the test. Like
Oh.
you guys were leading right into it. You know what?
Oh,
give
so
us the
so
test.
we already went. Okay, yeah. I don't know. Of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
if
like
you've
sitting
listened
here
this
waiting.
long-
I'm like, what is he doing?
I mean, I feel like we just did this as a treat. I didn't even have to watch this movie again to know that it was going to pass the test. A lot of them, I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that movie in forever. I've probably watched Rocky 4 3 months ago, and then before that, a month before, and then before that, 3. Like, this is not a year that goes by that I'm like, oh, I haven't watched Rocky 4 this year. Like, or thought about it.
Or thought
Or
about it.
turned on the soundtrack. And I'm not even a wrestler anymore. I'm a 40-year-old brewer who's moving
Man,
kegs.
you
and I'm
are
like,
really
"That's
plugging this
amazing."
brewing thing. I mean, it is just
Shameless plugs. It's LITHOLGY Brewing.
all over this episode.
I love the
Shameless
image of
plug here.
him cleaning the kegs and no easy way out.
What is the name of the brewery you're at? Refresh my memory.
It's Lithology Brewing Company.
Shameless plugs. It's LITHOLGY Brewing.
If you don't like this movie, Steve, you might not even be a friend of mine anymore. Yes, Steve Herrera. Yeah, I'm going to say your full name.
Wow, full name.
Because he's been on our podcast. He did the Killer Clowns episode with us. And he, for some reason, out of nowhere, when we were doing a yearly wrap-up, goes and says that he doesn't like Rocky IV. And my mind
Explode.
blew up. I got hurt a little bit. It's like when someone says, I'm going to bring it up again, Dan. It's when someone says bad things about one of the beers I make. Like, I was like, what? You don't like Rocky IV?
Wait, real quick. I don't know Steve, but is it safe to say he hates America? Because that's the only reason that you could not like Rocky IV is if you hate America. So Steve, if you're listening, I know I haven't met you yet, but I'll be calling the FBI and putting you on a list pretty soon, buddy.
Steve, I hope he could change and I could change and we all could change.
I just don't think like how you could not like Rocky IV. I mean, obviously, I think of course this movie passes the test. I mean, it is to me it embodies. I mean, I'm almost going to quote what our other friend Billy said on the Roadhouse episode is that like this movie it perfectly takes the 80s and like puts it in film. The music, it's just the content and that is just so outlandish, but they nail everything. Like they don't hold back. They're like, we're going full throttle on this, 100%.
It's unapologetically 80s. It doesn't care who it hurts. Just holding on for a ride. It's gonna be a roller coaster. It's not going to an art museum.
I think
it tells you that they can solve political problems. By just
I think they need to take this speech and just pump it through like in Congress, like over for 24 hours and just constantly pump that speech through and be like, listen, this
you guys
simple.
having problems, hire Stallone.
I think you guys all nailed it, right? The way I look at this movie is if you had to put together a time capsule for a future civilization that is uncovering each era, they need to know what were the 1900s like, what was 1910 like, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, all the way through. If you could only give them one or two pieces of our culture to understand the 80s, you give them Rocky IV. Rocky IV is the 80s.
Max.
Yes.
What's your rating here? Does it pass?
Oh, it passes. Flying colors, rainbows. Like when
red,
you look
white,
at
and blue passes.
Yeah. When you look through a diamond and you see all the colors in the spectrum, that's what this is. It's a perfect grade A diamond of color and winning. Where am I going with this? It just movie gets me flustered. I'm sorry.
All right, so last thing, we're doing this on every single one. Rate your Rockies.
Wait, did Mo didn't get his go?
Oh yeah, absolutely pass. I mean, like this movie it's Max and I when we prepare for our podcast or if we do, and again, thank you guys so much. We've had such a blast. This is great. Thanks for having us on. We prepare. I mean, we like rewatch movies pretty religiously. And I was just telling Max, Max is much more religious about this than I am, but in part because he hasn't seen a lot of these movies. I've already watched a lot of these movies a lot of times. I've watched Rocky IV 3 times in the last 4 days. And without my computer in front of me and without paper in front of me, like Max, like, well, did you take notes? I was like, no, I honestly just wanted to rewatch Rocky IV 3 times. Like no notes, no nothing. I just was enjoying myself. I watched it the first time. I'm like, I'm going to watch that again. And I just rolled it right back again. So it passes. It is unapologetic is the right word. It's unapologetically 80s, and it's going to lead into what you're saying, which is the ranking of the Rockies. But yes, passes the test.
Yes. But last thing, another thing about the brewery, Dan, you can hit that button.
Shameless plugs. It's LITHOLGY Brewing.
When I'm behind the bar,
you need to get a sound effect button that's like a opening beer sound. Okay, good.
We
I want
have
to
a
make sure.
shameless plug one, and I'm always
name
advertising it. Oh, what was I getting into? Oh, when I'm behind the bar, sometimes I do classic movies. Rocky IV is the only movie I shut off the music and just play Rocky IV.
Oh, that's
like with sound. And one time somebody's like, "Don't you have music on?" I'm like, "No, because we're watching music right now."
Yeah, we're watching art.
All right, I'm going on record. Are you ready? I'm going on record. You ready? Here it goes. Max, we're field tripping out to his bar on Rocky IV night. We're going to coordinate it, and we're going to take a trip out there when he's playing Rocky IV at the bar.
Should we do the day it comes out?
Oh, man.
That's it.
We're going to Farmingdale.
You're going to lose.
Dan, if we're coming, you better get your butt over there from the West Coast. There's no excuse.
We got to get it.
East versus
no
West.
excuse.
We're going to the East side. All right. So ranking, guys. Here it is. All 6, not just 5. I know where 5 is going to land, but all 6. We're including Rocky Balboa in this.
So it goes 4, 3, 1, 2.
Whoa.
6,
Slow
5.
down. My God.
He was ready.
First, man.
Max
You
was
gotta
like,
get
come
ready.
on.
Jesus.
Really?
Yeah.
Say that
God.
again. Say it again.
I know, right?
4,
Uh-huh.
3, then we go 1.
You put 3 over 1?
Yeah, it's more entertaining.
Wow.
So have you watched 1 recently?
Yes.
You guys
Yeah.
watch it. It
Yeah.
drags. It drags.
Because it's a
long.
real movie.
Yeah,
It's a
I don't
good
want a real
film.
movie.
You
Yeah.
don't. So you're looking at this as just 80s hits.
You just
Well, that's
went
not
you
even
just
it.
went 4-3. I can't believe you just went
4-3.
4-3.
Yeah.
You keep the cake. I want the icing. All right. Yeah.
Wow.
You want the cake with the boxer and
Just inject
Adrian
it in
on
my
top of it.
veins.
Get a little
Yeah.
heat.
You're saying
Sorry,
Rocky
go ahead,
5 is
go
like
ahead.
the wrapper
not-
around the icing. You just throw that
Yeah.
out.
Oh my Lord.
Did we just not discuss that Thunder Lips might be the most entertaining 6 minutes in all the
you
No
made
one
that
stopped me.
claim.
No one
All
stopped
right,
me.
go ahead. 4-3. 4-3.
1, 2, 6, 5.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a hot take. That's a hot take.
I didn't think it was a
Wow.
hot take. I thought that's how everyone thinks.
No. I was shocked that it came 4-3. 4-3, I was like, no one's saying 4-3.
Nobody's saying 4-3.
No one's saying 4-3.
People that say 4 first are going to catch a little bit of heat, right? Like I can make the argument for it, but they're still
Yeah.
going to catch heat for it. 4-3 is like a pie to the face. You can't do that, man.
We make
4-3
t-shirts.
was
4-3.
like, I'm blindsided by that. So Sandra Bullock better come over here
I'm in
and help me.
shock. I'm in shock.
But-
I actually feel
wow.
better about my picks now.
Well, what's yours, Hot Shot?
Are we going me or are we going to
Yeah, guess first.
hosts first? Maybe I want a little time to
Dan.
see what they
Dan.
have.
I'm thinking still. I'm still shell shocked from the 4-3.
Oh, so Dan, you mean you didn't have that like at immediate grasp?
I didn't have it, like, just-
you, Manny. You didn't even finish the back end of your question, and it was like the off timing in the
Yeah.
fight scene in Rocky 4. You're like, if you had to rate, he's like 4-3, 4-6, 5. Definitely.
I'm going to say I've always ranked it 4-1, 2, 3, 6, 5. But sometimes I had trouble with the 4-1. I go 4-2.
4-2. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I think it's because I recently just watched 1 and I'm like, I just like fell in love with the film aspect again. Another plug of mine is that I used to be a film major. So
cool.
like
Very
I majored in editing and cinematography. So like it plays a lot to me, the way they shoot and like all the shadows and the lighting in 1, especially the Mickey scene on the ladder. The steps.
Yeah.
Thought it was phenomenal. So I think that's why, but normally it was 4, 2, 1, 3, 6, 5. And some people just don't even think 6 should even be in it. And I'm like, yeah, you have to have 6 to make up for 5. But
Right.
Pulled
Right.
out the
6 is the
franchise,
apology letter.
yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
funny way of thinking about it.
I'm 4-1, 3, 2, 6, 5.
All right.
Yeah, I'm 1-4,
So-
3, 2, 6, 5.
Totally.
1-4.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dan coming in hot. Coming in
I don't think
In
I'm
fairness,
coming in
I
hot. If
think-
anyone came in hot, it's definitely Max.
Oh, for sure. No, Matt.
No one
Max
cares about
came
silver
in,
medal.
His wings were burnt off, and he was torpedoing into the runway. Your pick, Dan, is much more, I would say, in line with what the average person would say. Like I
Calling
think,
Dan average?
Wow.
Yeah, no, I'm calling him normal.
Hey,
How
why
about
don't you
normal?
Come on the
I don't-
podcast.
that's an
call me
insult nowadays,
average,
too.
and, you
Yeah.
know.
Hey, Dan. If it makes you feel better, if being called average makes you feel bad, at least you're not 4-3. All right, let's just make sure that you're clear about that. All right,
I'm gonna get t-shirts made.
You should get a
4
shirt that
periods,
says-
3 periods.
That's a great idea. That's actually a
Like,
really
what does
good
that even
idea.
mean? 4-3, man. And you find people who know it. They're
Yeah.
like, yeah,
What's
man,
that
I
mean?
agree.
That's the cool thing is anybody who knows it, it'll be like a deep cut T-shirt.
That'd be
right?
unbelievable. I'd be
Yeah.
best friends with that person.
Yeah.
What
they'd be
about
like,
if
hey
you're
man,
friends
hey
with someone
man,
that
I got
it's
you.
a 3-4?
Oh wow, 3-4.
I'd accept a 3-4 person.
Well, what's your boy Steve say? Right? Is he even put 4 in the
might-
top?
You know what? I don't even remember, but I do think that he liked 3. But I don't think it was 1. I don't think it was like his.
I think
favorite.
his
I
ranking
gotta-
was really terrible.
It was weird, and like we shot him down.
Oh,
It
you
was
don't
like,
say a guy who doesn't like Rocky 4 had a terrible Rocky ranking.
like
That's so
5,
weird.
6.
he's like, yeah, 5.
I think he
That's
even
a
put
lot.
6 last and 5 before.
He didn't like
6
6 at all.
Oh, that's so
All right,
rookie.
so hold on.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
be clear. I will accept Max going 4-3 well over I accept someone not putting Rocky 5 last. If anybody doesn't put Rocky 5 last, they are disqualified.
It's
from
the
this
worst
conversation.
music. It's
Disqualified
the
from life.
worst story. It's the worst everything.
Acting.
They don't fight
You
in
know
the
why he
boxing ring.
did it? Do you know why he like wanted 5?
Money.
Because he wanted to show the dangers in boxing. I was like,
God.
you
Yeah.
only
That's so
you show that right in the
Show
beginning.
that.
Then
Yeah.
write a book. Give me a PSA. I
Well,
don't need to have a movie about it.
He initially wanted to do a Drago aftermath movie, and they said
Oh,
no,
yeah.
you can't do that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
would
they
be
wanted
great.
him- he wanted to make him to like addicted to like
Steroids. Yeah.
and then like suicidal even. I'm like, Jesus, that would
Dark.
have been like
I would have watched that. That's
As
cool.
long as
In
there was a
Creed
little
2.
bum bum bum. Ah,
in
it's
Creed
not-
2, he comes, Drago comes back and you see kind of more of a what happens
Yeah.
to him and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creed
But,
2 is, oh man, the Creed movies were fantastic.
Yeah, they did
definitely
justice.
yeah. And like, here's the baton, take it over. To me, I always say like, if people haven't seen it, I'm like, Creed is almost like 1 and 2 and 3 all together.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
you
That's
know.
a good way of putting it. I would
Yeah,
agree
I
with
like
that.
Yeah.
I think the closest thing that comes to like Rocky 4 is like the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Oh yeah,
It's like-
that's a good call. It's got the
It's so
flavor of it.
cheesiness.
Yeah.
It's like, and like I like it. It's my guilty pleasure. I'm like all for it. Although Fast and Furious 1 totally ripped off of Point Break. Like
Yeah,
that
completely.
Story
Oh,
is
absolutely.
That.
Yeah.
But like the rest of them, like they just become superheroes. Like they don't die ever. They do the most impossible things, and you're just like, I'm cool. I'm here for the ride of just how crazy this is.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they
Right.
do like a good job of like cheesy and fun action, and you're not
Yeah.
like that could never happen because you
Wait,
know that.
I'm sorry. So wait, are you trying to say that Point Break is cheesy and that couldn't have happened? Because I'll tell you right now.
I'm an FBI agent.
Yeah, let's just be clear. Like, I don't know
Surfing
if you,
on
I don't know if
desks.
you saw Johnny Utah play quarterback for Ohio in the Rose Bowl, but it was a game that Paulie missed
Actually,
because
Paulie-
he was in
yeah.
Russia.
Utah, give me two. Give me
Paulie
two.
missed that, dude. You could probably do a like how to tie in all these movies in its own world. Like, and he missed Johnny Utah. Paulie missed Johnny Utah, and then like continued.
Well, I was
that.
looking
That'd
at
be great.
Stallone climbing that mountain, and I was like, "This is probably where he got the idea for
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
It was like
cliffhanger.
another movie, and he's down in the thing, like writing another screenplay. Like Stallone's just like writing another screenplay, just getting ready for cliffhanger.
Tony's playing chess, and he's like, "I'm just gonna write cliffhanger." No, we just like made up 5 different movies. Like
Yeah.
we were like, "Oh yeah," and Paulie didn't get to see the Rose Bowl that Johnny Utah was. in.
All right. Well, I'll at least give you the Buzz in the Tower conclusion since we plugged your brewery 16 times. I'll give one more plug
Go
to Buzz
right
in the
ahead.
Tower.
Yes, of course.
If you like listening to Max give facts and me slap him across the face, which usually doesn't happen actually. Max is somewhat of a savant and I'm kind of a pussycat. But anything 80s related,
You're a
check out
jungle
Buzz in the
cat.
Tower. And again, we both want to thank you guys for having us on. We love your podcast, love listening to it. This was an absolute blast. And I wasn't kidding about that road trip. Max and I, we have a plan to head out to the West Coast at some point and do a remote podcast from the location of the shooting of the Goonies.
wow.
And
Astoria, let's
yeah,
go.
absolutely. And then we definitely will be making it to your brewery. But Dan will have to come in town too, which I know will be hard because there's all this construction going on outside of his apartment, but hopefully it'll be done by then.
Yeah. But seriously, this is a great podcast.
Yeah.
Better friends.
Yeah.
Like, I know I can call or text you guys anytime and talk Rocky 4
Oh,
now. So
absolutely.
yeah.
that's
No.
that's all that
Yeah.
matters. And that's what I love about the nostalgia community in general. Like you say the nostalgia test, it's like everyone connects with everyone about this stuff. It's like we just have the best
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said.
So many.
One of the
amazing-
best things I love about it is that, like, even when things aren't passing the test, being nostalgic, like, makes you, to me, stay young.
Absolutely.
Totally. Totally.
It doesn't, like, age becomes nothing because, like, you're just remembering all the good times. You basically time travel every time. Every time we do something nostalgic, especially even your podcast, like, I'm like, oh, man, yeah, oh, yeah. And then it's like we're in a time traveling machine every time.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Totally agree.
Thank you
Appreciate
guys
it.
for coming on.
A side note, though, Bodhi is found in the movie Airborne. That's him before he
Don't
gets older
start
and
talking
starts
about
robbing
Airborne,
banks.
please do not do that. Everybody,
All right.
thank you so much for listening. This has been this has been such an amazing time, and we'd love to hear your thoughts about Rocky 4. Drop them in the comments. Follow the podcast. Follow us on Instagram at the Nostalgia Test, and on Twitter at Nostalgia Test, and and send us your suggestions. You go to the website, thenostalgiatest.com. click suggest a test and suggest a movie, some music, anything that you'd like to see on another episode of the Nostalgia Test, and we'll put it to the test. But thanks a lot, guys.
Except Steve. Steve, you stay away. Don't you give them anything.
You've been warned, Steve.
3-4. Get out of here.
All right.
Steve's probably 3-1.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Please subscribe to the Nostalgia Test podcast to know when new episodes drop. Don't forget to leave us 5 stars and a positive review so more people can find the podcast. Share your thoughts and memories on today's topic on our Twitter @NostalgiaTest and on Instagram @TheNostalgiaTest. Tune in next time because you never know what pop culture will pop up on the Nostalgia Test.